Chapter 104. Not bad. They are all young and promising children. Your Shrek Academy is worthy of its name. In fact, before coming to the Shrek Academy, Dusty Heart didn't think much of this place. But at this moment, seeing so many geniuses, especially 3 12-year-old soul elders and a 14-year-old food-type soul elder, how could he not be surprised? In fact, if they hadn't just started school, he would have the idea of dragging them all to the Seven Treasures glazed sect. However, at this time, he could still throw out an olive branch. With that thought, Dusty Heart said directly, "After you graduate, if you want to enter the Seven Treasures glazed sect, the door here is open to you unconditionally, and we will also give you a lot of resources. As long as you are willing to work hard, it is not impossible for you to become a titled Douluo like me." With that, Dusty Heart shook slightly, and 9 soul rings appeared in an instant. 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black. The best soul ring combination attracted everyone's attention, showing the strength of the Seven Treasures glazed sect. After being stunned for a moment, Zhao Wuji hurriedly said, "Thank you, Lord Dusty Heart, for your affirmation of the students. But now the children have just entered school, and there are still a few years before graduation. It may not be a good thing to be too ambitious." If Dusty Heart wasn't a titled Douluo, Zhao Wuji might have pointed at his nose and scolded him. This kind of words for the children to have a lofty ideal sounded good on the surface, but in fact it was a bad habit to bite off more than one could chew. Hearing this, Dusty Heart smiled and didn't say much. Then he looked at Lin Feng and asked with interest, "I came out this time to teach you a lesson, but Rong Rong pleaded for you. How about this? I will give you 2 choices. First, join my Seven Treasures glazed sect after graduation. The sect will vigorously nurture you and guarantee that there will be no shortage of resources. Second, I won't use any soul power or soul skills, just physical fitness. Take my kick." Although Dusty Heart was now suspected of forcing others to join the sect, in the eyes of most people, there were only benefits and no disadvantages. It was just like when you were in your first year of high school. A professor from Tsinghua University or Peking University would come knocking on your door and say that you can go straight to their school after you finish your 3rd year of high school. Not only would you be free of charge, they would even give you a scholarship. Who would reject such a good deal? Right now, the Seven Treasures glazed sect was one of the 3 upper sections. There were 2 titled Douluo in the sect, and they were one of the top powers in the entire Douluo continent. For a sect to promise to nurture a soul cultivator was like a pie falling from the sky. No soul cultivator would refuse. Not to mention Oscar and the others. Even Tang San was a little tempted. Even Zhao Wuji didn't say anything. He felt that this was a good choice. Ning Rong was also looking forward to it. She didn't know why, but she felt a little happy when she thought about being able to see Lin Feng after graduation. However, to everyone's surprise, Lin Feng said calmly, "I choose the second option." What? Everyone couldn't believe it. Of the 2 options, no matter which one he chose, he should have chosen the first option. That was a titled Douluo, an assault-type titled Douluo. His physical fitness was extremely strong. Even if he didn't use any soul power or soul skills, the power of his kick was terrifying. Tang Sen was a little confused. He asked, "Fengge, why didn't you choose the first option? I'm used to being free and unrestrained. I won't join a sect." Lin Feng was still calm. There wasn't much change in his expression. Wasn't it just a kick from a titled Douluo? Even if he only used his strength on the surface, nothing would happen to him. Since that's the case, then take my kick. I won't use any soul power or soul skills. You won't be restricted in any way. As long as you can take my kick, I'll leave immediately. Dusty Heart let Lin Feng choose because he had a plan in mind. He knew that Lin Feng was Tang San and Xiao Wu's big brother. If this young man joined the Seven Treasures glazed sect, wouldn't the 2 little ones follow him? Wouldn't it be nice to win over 3 geniuses at once? But at this moment, Lin Feng didn't choose the first option. Dusty Heart wasn't angry. Instead, he admired Lin Feng even more. Not being restricted by a sect, this was the pride that geniuses should have. Also, when he kicked Lin Feng later, he could test his strength and see if he needed to use more bargaining chips to recruit him in the future. Ning Rongrong wanted to say something, but she knew that she wouldn't be able to persuade Dusty Heart. Dusty Heart had said that he was there to teach Lin Feng a lesson. Douluo was a title battle pet warrior. He would be a laughingstock if he didn't do anything. Zhao Wuji suddenly approached Dusty Heart and whispered something to him. Dusty Heart was surprised. Thanos? He murmured. Just then, Zhao Wuji told him that Lin Feng knew a titled law named Thanos, and that Lin Feng should still be in the Star Do Great Forest. However, even with the 7 treasures glazed sex intelligence, he had never heard of a titled law called Thanos. Dusty Heart was confused, but since Lin Feng was related to Daw, Dusty Heart couldn't treat him carelessly. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Hearing this, Zhao Wuji heaved a sigh of relief. At this time, Zhu Zhuqing, who had always been silent, suddenly said, Lord Mortal Heart, Brother Feng has always taught us that as a qualified team, we will be a whole. Every member of the team is an indispensable part of the team. All the consequences of a teammate's actions must be borne by the entire team. Can the 8 of us bear the brunt of this kick? That was a long sentence. Zhu Zhuqing had never said such a long sentence before. Qin Douluo stared at Zhu Zhuqing in surprise. Then, he cast a meaningful glance at Lin Feng. Was this guy the one who would say that? Dusty Heart had to admit that Dusty Heart was a good talker. No wonder he could make Rongrong cry. All of a sudden, Dusty Heart understood why Ning Rongrong had fallen in love with Lin Feng in such a short time. This guy's charisma was just too strong. As expected, as Dusty Heart thought of that, Ning Rongrong came back to her senses. Grandpa Jian, Zhu Zhuqing is right. The 8 of us are a team. We have to bear the brunt of this kick. Sir, the 8 of us are of one mind. We will advance and retreat together. Tang San shouted. Xiao was standing next to them. Although she was nervous, she stubbornly looked at Dusty Heart. She realized that for some reason, Dusty Heart couldn't tell who she was. While she was relieved, she was also puzzled. What was going on? Sir, please give us a chance. Ma Hongjun and Dai Mubai chuckled. Oscar also stood next to them silently. Dusty Heart was slightly touched by the scene of them stepping forward. He wondered if he should take the opportunity to agree. However, Lin Feng was cursing in his heart. A bunch of clueless teammates. What were they trying to do? He was going to be the only one who could act tough. To everyone's surprise, he waved his hand and said, Say no more. Although I taught you to have team spirit, there's a good saying. One should bear the consequences of one's actions. As the team leader, I should be stricter with myself. Sir, come on. It's just one kick. I can handle it. His voice was loud and full of righteousness. Everyone was touched by his words. They thought that Lin Feng was a good team leader. Even Dusty Heart was moved. He thought that Lin Feng was a real man. Lin Feng was thinking, I haven't even started acting yet. Why are they all acting? Chapter 105. Good. What an affectionate little brat. Since that's the case, let's end this quickly. Dusty Heart smiled and stood 10 meters away from Lin Feng. Lin Feng waved his hands to the sides, indicating for everyone to spread out. Senior, please. With a low shout, Lin Feng's soul rings instantly appeared. Yellow, black, black. The others were still okay with this scene. This was the second time they saw it, so at most they sighed. On the other hand, Sword Douluo Chan Xin was completely stunned. What kind of joke is this? His second and third soul rings are all 10,000-year soul rings? Is he really just a soul elder? When they arrived, Dusty Heart had estimated Lin Feng's level of talent. After all, he was a 12-year-old soul elder. But he never expected this. This was too much of genius. Even though he was a titled Douluo, he had never seen something like this before. No wonder he had the confidence to receive his kick alone. He originally wanted to go easy on Lin Feng, but now it seemed that if he didn't go all out, he wouldn't be able to kick him with just his physical strength. With that thought, Dusty Heart put away his long sword and said calmly, You better take this properly. Don't worry, come. Lin Feng got into a defensive position, and his third soul ring suddenly lit up. In an instant, the phantom of an armored bear appeared out of thin air. Its 5-meter-long body lit up half the night sky, and a powerful soul power spread out. Then, the phantom dissipated and turned into a layer of bright white light that covered Lin Feng's body. At this moment, Lin Feng was like a god of war, full of momentum. Previously, when he was disguised as Thanos, Lin Feng had used this soul skill, but his control over it was already very strong. He could completely control whether the light on the mech was emitted or not. Therefore, even if he used it now, it wouldn't be a big deal. This is Feng Ji's third soul skill. Dai Mubai had a look of astonishment on his face. It's truly a 10,000-year soul ring. His white tiger Vajra transformation was also very powerful, but compared to the current Lin Feng, it was not even worth mentioning. Tang Sen laughed. Feng Ji's soul skill should be the same as Dai Mubai's. It's also an amplification-type soul skill, but its effects are stronger. When Xiao Wu and the others heard this, they nodded in understanding. The corner of Zhao Wuji's mouth twitched. This Feng brat is really strong. His third soul skill is almost as strong as my martial soul true body. I wonder how much stronger he has become. Dusty Heart, who was standing opposite of Lin Feng, narrowed his eyes. Then, without another word, he leaped lightly and kicked towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was also solemn. His hands were crossed in front of his chest. His entire body was prepared to withstand this attack. In the next second, the two collided. Boom! It was a muffled sound. In an instant, soul power surged and a powerful aura surged outwards, causing layers of fallen leaves to be lifted. When the dust settled, everyone looked towards the arena. Lin Feng was actually standing still, while Kinduru Ashen was standing not far away with a smile on his face. Good. You're indeed the person that Rong Rong likes. You're really a genius. If you could take my kick, I'll let you go. After speaking, a long sword appeared under Dusty Heart's feet. He turned into a stream of light and disappeared in an instant. Fortunately, it was filled with smoke just now, so others couldn't see the scene clearly. Dusty Heart was really too embarrassed. As a title Douluo, not only did he fail to kick Lin Feng back with his full strength, but there was also a rebound from his foot that hurt. Is this an auxiliary-type soul master? Even a turtle's shell isn't as hard as him. If someone said that Lin Feng was a defense-type soul king, he would believe it. This guy's third soul skill was really strange. It actually had a rebound effect. It was really too strong. Therefore, it would be humiliating for Chun Xin to stay even a second longer. He left as soon as he finished speaking. If Lin Feng knew what Dusty Heart was thinking, he would probably cry out that he was wronged. Although his third soul skill had a rebound effect, it wasn't obvious. The reason why Dusty Heart's foot hurt was because of Newton's third law. Alright, don't blame it on his soul skill. After Dusty Heart left, Ning Rongrong immediately shouted with a red face, "Don't listen to Grandpa Jian's nonsense. I don't like Fengge. I'm just worried." Ah! Everyone laughed when they heard this. Even Lin Feng laughed and shook his head. She was only 12 years old. What was the point of thinking so much? The most important thing now was to quickly increase her strength. Lin Feng was about to reach rank 70 by himself. He had a premonition that the system would definitely reward him for reaching rank 70 by himself. Lin Feng was looking forward to this and had been working hard to cultivate. Fengge, your third soul skill is so cool. What's its name? Can it only be used by yourself, or can it be added on to others? Oscar asked curiously. Tangsen also asked, Fengge, what's the effect of this soul skill? He could guess that it should be related to the strengthening of the body, but Lin Feng had to explain the specifics. I call it the armored demonic bear transformation. It can only be used by myself. Lin Feng paused and said, as for the effect, it increases all attributes by 2 times. In fact, it increased by 4 times. When Dusty Heart kicked him just now, Lin Feng really didn't feel that it was difficult to block, but he still pretended to be able to block it. It was a pity because he was just being kicked. In the end, it was only judged that he passed Douluo's test and gave him more than 100,000 experience points. If Lin Feng fought back then, even if it was just a light touch to Douluo. The system might have judged that he and Douluo had a big fight and then gave him a lot of experience points. At that time, he was afraid that Douluo would fly into a rage out of humiliation, so Lin Feng didn't dare to take the risk. Now that he thought about it, he regretted it a little. Double all attributes. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and expressed their shock at Lin Feng's words. Daimu Bai said, "My third soul skill can only double defense, strength, and attack. Your 10,000-year soul skill can increase all attributes by 2 times. It's really terrifying." The others also praised. At this time, they had seen Lin Feng's third soul skill. Xiao Wu and Tang San's soul skills had not been seen yet, so they were all curious. Seeing this, Tang San smiled slightly. The effect of my soul skill is very similar to Feng Ji's second soul skill. It's a control-type soul skill that can control people. Its name is Binding Spiderweb. Originally, when Tang San absorbed the Devil Vine Spider, his third soul skill was Devil Vine Binding. Now that his soul ring had mutated, his soul skill had become stronger, so its name was changed to Binding Spiderweb. At this time, everyone looked at Xiao Wu. The latter was stunned. Only when Tang San pushed her did she react. My soul skill is teleportation. As long as I'm within 5 meters, I can teleport. Even though Dusty Heart had left, Xiao Wu was still very nervous, so she was distracted. Wow, teleportation, amazing. When you attack, you can completely catch others off guard. Everyone was in awe of this soul skill. Chapter 106. After everyone conversed for a while, Zhao Wuji walked over. Children, this Douluo Great Forest trip has come to a successful end. Let's hurry up and try to reach the town before dawn. I still want to drink the hot milk in the morning. This slightly mischievous sentence made everyone laugh for a while. Just like that, the group began to walk out of the forest. However, not long after, Lin Feng suddenly looked to the side with a hint of surprise on his face. "Teacher Zhao, take them out first. I'll catch up soon." After saying that, Lin Feng did not give anyone time to react. He quickly ran behind, not even caring about Xiao Wu and Tang San. Everyone paused and then looked at Zhao Wuji. The latter touched his head and said, "Feng Brad is strong enough. He's almost out of the Douluo Great Forest. Nothing will happen. Let's just wait outside." With that, he continued to lead the crowd outside. At this time, on the other side, Lin Feng quickly ran behind. Not long after, he suddenly stopped and then opened his arms. In the next second, Xiao Ying's huge body directly pounced on him. Lin Feng was directly pushed to the ground. His face was crazily licked by Xiao Ying's tongue, causing his face to be covered in saliva. Xiao Ying was a soul beast after all. Its senses were very sharp. Because of the evolution of life force, it had an inexplicable connection with Lin Feng. When Lin Feng entered the forest, it rushed over to Lin Feng. However, because it was far away, it took a day to arrive. After fooling around for a while, Lin Feng turned over and climbed onto Xiao Ying's wide back. At this time, Lin Feng realized that Xiao Ying had grown a lot. It was now 5 meters tall. Lin Feng could not ride it and could only stand on its back. "Xiao Ying, you've grown up again. I can't even ride you anymore. How strong are you now?" Hearing this, Xiao Ying immediately released its soul power fluctuations. Lin Feng sensed it. Good fellow. It should have reached about 7,500 years. In just half a year, it increased its cultivation by 2,000 years. It seemed that Xiao Ying was living very comfortably in the Douluo Great Forest. Just as he was thinking about this, Xiao Ying under Lin Feng quickly shrank. In a breath's time, it became about 2 meters. Lin Feng could just ride on it. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Since when could Xiao Ying transform its body? It couldn't do that half a year ago. Was this a new ability that it had evolved? Lin Feng knew that there was a chance for soul beasts to gain new abilities during their cultivation. Xiao Ying had obtained the ability to glide when he had advanced to the 3,000-year level, which greatly increased his survivability. Could it be that Xiao Ying obtained this transformation ability when he advanced to 7,000 years? Thinking about this, Lin Feng directly asked his doubts. Xiao Ying understood very well and nodded, indicating that Lin Feng's guess was right. Xiao Ying, shrink a little more. Let me see how small you can become. With that, Lin Feng directly jumped down. At this moment, Lin Feng had an idea. That was to bring Xiao Ying back to the Shrek Academy to raise him. After all, to Xiao Ying, absorbing his life force to cultivate was not inferior to the Stardow Great Forest. The effect was even better. If Xiao Ying could really shrink to the size of an ordinary pet, it would be quite interesting to bring him back to raise him. If the transformation was not ideal, then forget it. After hearing Lin Feng's words, Xiao Ying's soul power surged and his body continued to shrink. 2 meters, 1.5 meters, 1 meter, half a meter. Finally, when he was the size of a house cat, Xiao Ying stopped shrinking. That's great. Looking at Xiao Ying, who was like a kitten, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Black fur covered his entire body, and there were light green markings on it. They were like decorative patterns, giving people a sense of elegance. Especially his pair of amber eyes, which were full of spirit. At this moment, he was looking at Lin Feng, full of intimacy. If you become like this, can you keep it up? Lin Feng asked a very important question. Xiao Ying nodded and lightly jumped onto Lin Feng's body, then intimately rubbed against Lin Feng's head. Wow, this old man's heart is about to melt. Okay, from today onwards, I'll bring you out to follow me. Xiao Ying was too cute after shrinking, and Lin Feng couldn't help but rub it with all his might. Xiao Ying was a soul beast that was very good at hiding, and this transformation seemed to have strengthened this ability. After shrinking, his soul power did not fluctuate at all. Unless a tidal Douluo came over to observe, it would be difficult to find any abnormalities. If Lin Feng specially used his soul power to protect him, even a tidal Douluo would not be able to see through it, just like how he protected Xiao Wu previously. Thinking of this, Lin Feng chuckled. Xiao Ying, when you go out with me in the future, you'll just be an ordinary kitten, okay? Don't show your soul B-side. Wind shadow leopards were originally felines. As long as Xiao Ying didn't show his strength, he would be a proper pet cat. Meow. A cat's meow was really vivid. Leopards usually made a low purr sound, but they also knew how to meow. It was just that it wasn't very standard. Now, Xiao Ying didn't know if it was because of its small size or because of its spiritual intelligence, but its meow was very realistic. Speaking of spiritual intelligence, Xiao Ying was now very smart. It could basically understand everything Lin Feng said, and this feeling was very strange. However, it still couldn't open its mouth to speak, and it couldn't accurately express what it wanted to say to Lin Feng. It could only wait until it became a 10,000-year soul beast. If it became a 10,000-year soul beast, or if Lin Feng's strength was a little higher, this man and beast would be able to communicate spiritually. It was still a little lacking, but it was already very good that he could bring Xiao Ying out. Just like that, Lin Feng brought Xiao Ying out of the forest. At the same time, he taught it a few things that a pet should do and what to pay attention to outside. After half an hour, Lin Feng caught up with everyone. After casually finding an excuse to explain, the group walked towards the town. At this time, Xiao Ying wasn't with Lin Feng. Instead, it was following them towards the town. Because it had to disguise itself as a normal pet, Lin Feng couldn't bring Xiao Ying out of the Stardow Great Forest. Therefore, he could only coincidentally meet Xiao Ying in the town. Generally speaking, soul beasts didn't like to go to places where humans lived. It was very rare for soul beasts to take the initiative to leave the forest. If it wasn't for Lin Feng, Xiao Ying wouldn't have come out at all. Just like that, the group finally arrived at the town when the sky was about to brighten. Lin Feng took the opportunity to coincidentally meet Xiao Ying. Then, he expressed that he wanted to take it as a pet, and named it Xiao Ying. The group of people couldn't resist Xiao Ying's cute kitten at all. They were instantly melted. Ning Rongrong and Xiao Wu were very fond of it, especially Xiao Wu. She hugged it almost the entire time. Furthermore, she could faintly feel that Xiao Ying was a little different. It seemed to be of the same origin as her. In any case, she subconsciously felt close to it. Even Zhu Zhuqing had a smile on his face. Chapter 107. By the time they returned to the Shrek Academy, it was already the afternoon of the next day. Inside the president's office, Zhao Wuji was currently reporting to Flanders about the Star-Do Great Forest. A 50,000-year titan giant ape? You guys even managed to encounter such a soul beast. And you guys even managed to escape. My goodness, Zhao Wuji. Oh, Zhao Wuji, your experience this time can be considered legendary. But Flanders quickly said, this Star-Do Great Forest is truly too dangerous. It looks like I can't let you go alone next time. Next time, you and I will have to bring along 2 teachers. That's the safest way. Cough, cough. Actually, this time it was all thanks to Lin Feng. If not for him, all of us might have died. Zhao Wuji explained in detail what Lin Feng had done in the Star-Do Great Forest. He blocked Qin Douluo's kick. He knocked over Soul King with a single punch. His 3rd soul ring is also a 10,000-year soul ring. Is he still a soul elder? Flanders' face was full of disbelief. Lin Feng was only a 12-year-old child. How could he be so outstanding? Zhao Wuji also said that there was a titled Douluo called Thanos that Lin Feng knew and had a close relationship with. Hearing this, Flanders' expression turned a little strange. Zhao Wuji say this Tang San has a titled Douluo as his father, and Lin Feng has a titled Douluo as his boss. Then the younger sister of the 3 wouldn't have a titled Douluo protecting her, would she? Cough, cough, that can't be. Zhao Wuji was a little uncertain. Do you think titled Douluo are cabbages that can pop out of nowhere? Flanders thought about it and agreed. Titled Douluo were already rare, so it was unrealistic for so many to pop out at once. Then he sighed. This Lin Feng's mutated martial soul is too strong. He can actually absorb 2 10,000-year soul rings in a row, and his soul skill is so powerful. I really don't know what the upper limit of his growth is. Xiao Feng's martial soul is indeed very mysterious. My understanding of him is wrong, but I'm certain that his mutated martial soul is the only one in the entire continent. At this moment, a somewhat hoarse and strange voice came from outside the door. Then, the door opened and a middle-aged man walked in. He had a smile on his face and his eyes were sparkling. This was Tang San's teacher, Yu Xiaojiang. Seeing this, Flinder laughed. You rascal, why are you only here now? With that, he brought the master to Zhao Wuji. Come, come, come. Zhao Wuji, let me introduce you. This is the master. Master? Zhao Wuji was slightly surprised. He was very curious about a teacher who could teach an encyclopedia like Tang San. Now that they met, he was slightly surprised and said, So you are the master. Hello, I'm Zhao Wuji. I've often heard Flanders mention the title of the immovable Wisdom King. Nice to meet you. After a while of pleasantries, the 3 of them quickly talked about Tang San and the others in the Star-Do Great Forest. Not long after, Zhao Wuji left. In the office, Flanders and the master's topic changed rapidly. Their voices became louder and louder. In the end, the 2 of them quarreled until their faces and ears turned red about an hour later. The master came to find Tang San and pulled him to the small forest on the side. Cough, cough, of course, it was not to do anything else. It was just because of the attached soul bone. As for Lin Feng, he still had one more thing to do today, and that was to go to the Great Soul Arena to register a few new identities. It was generally impossible for a person to register many identities, but Lin Feng had the 1000G ruler, which could transform into any shape, and his control of soul power was extremely detailed, so he had the opportunity to register multiple identities. As for the purpose of registering so many identities, it was very simple. It was to increase his combat experience with soul masters. Soul masters were different from soul beasts. They were much smarter. Don't think that the combat awareness of low-level soul masters was weak. It was actually very strong. Because there were more low-level soul masters than high-level soul masters, the speed of matching in the Great Soul Arena was much faster, and there were more opportunities to fight. Therefore, those with high badges generally had strong combat awareness. Lin Feng's combat experience with soul beasts was very sufficient, but his combat experience with humans was still lacking. At this time, he came to the Great Soul Arena to make up for this shortcoming and cultivate his combat awareness in combat. At first, he might choose to crush his opponent, but when the badge level is high, he can suppress his strength to hone his combat awareness. In this way, Lin Feng walked straight towards Soto City. But not long after he walked, as if he sensed something, Lin Feng immediately turned around and found a little tail behind him. Zhu Zhuqing? This made Lin Feng a little surprised. He thought it was Xiao Wu. After standing in place for a while, Zhu Zhuqing came close. She didn't speak, just stood quietly. "What are you doing?" Lin Feng asked curiously. He originally thought it was a coincidence that Zhu Zhuqing was also going to Soto City for something, but now she was standing next to him without speaking, which was really puzzling. "Following you to the Great Soul Arena." How do you know I'm going to the Great Soul Arena?" Lin Feng was slightly surprised. "I guessed," Zhu Zhuqing said lightly. A powerful soul master like Lin Feng must be very hardworking. Zhu Zhuqing didn't think that Lin Feng came to the city to play at all, so she guessed his intention at once. "So you?" Lin Feng raised his eyebrows. "I'm with the Great Soul Arena too. By the way, we can also fight together." Zhu Zhuqing followed this time. On the surface, it was to improve the strength of the Great Soul Arena, but in fact, it was mainly to learn useful knowledge from Lin Feng's battle. "Okay, let's go." Lin Feng didn't say anything. Anyway, it didn't take long to fight with Zhu Zhuqing. After the battle, he could find an excuse to slip away. Wouldn't it be great to change his identity and continue to fight? In this way, the two soon arrived at the Great Soul Arena. Although it was not as lively during the day as at night, the popularity still did not decrease. After the two came in, they were quickly assigned to the matching sequence. The Great Soul Arena they were assigned to this time was still the 14th Great Soul Arena, and it was a 1v1 battle. They didn't have to wait long. About half an hour, Zhu Zhuqing went up. Her opponent was a rank 29 defense-type Soul Grandmaster, and his martial soul was a large bell. With just a glance, Lin Feng knew that Zhu Zhuqing had a high chance of losing. A defense-type Soul Master was very restrained by an agility-type Soul Master, because an agility-type Soul Master paid attention to explosive power and was not good at protracted battles. If they didn't use soul skills, their attack power wouldn't be strong. As for a defense-type Soul Master, as long as they focused on blocking the explosive power of an agility-type Soul Master, they didn't have to be afraid of other attacks. Just casually attack 2 or 3 times like this, waiting for the exhausted agility-type Soul Master. The soul power of the agility-type Soul Master would soon be exhausted, so they could easily win. P.S. Here is a survey of the female lead. You can answer in this chapter. I hope a single female lead will be deducted 1. 2 female leads will be deducted 2. Not a female lead will be deducted 3. All of them will be deducted 4. Chapter 108. The battle went pretty much as Lin Feng had expected. That defense-type Soul Master wasn't a fool. He used the most stable method to exhaust Zhu Zhuqing's soul power. 7 or 8 minutes later, Zhu Zhuqing's attacks weren't successful. He couldn't even break through the Soul Master's defense. In the end, he was defeated due to the exhaustion of his soul power. When Zhu Zhuqing came back, she looked a little lonely. It wasn't clear if it was because of her defeat or if she had thought of something bad. "Actually, you could have beaten him." Lin Feng's simple words caused Zhu Zhuqing to raise her head. Her big eyes stared at Lin Feng, full of curiosity. Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry to speak. Instead, he smiled and asked, "Tell me, what's the most important thing for an agility-type Soul Master to do in a battle?" "Find an opportunity to deal explosive damage." Zhu Zhuqing immediately answered. "Then did you find an opportunity just now?" Lin Feng asked. "No." Zhu Zhuqing shook her head. "That guy's defense is too strong, and his soul skill is also a defensive type. He was able to block all of my attacks. I didn't have as much soul power as him, so I lost. If I let you fight with him again now, do you think you can find an opportunity?" Zhu Zhuqing pondered for a moment, then said, "It's very difficult. I can only break through his defense if he can't react in time when I use my soul skills. Hearing this, Lin Feng knew that Zhu Zhuqing had misunderstood. After thinking for a moment, he said, "Take Shi. You have to know that a battle between soul masters isn't as simple as you attack and I defend. It's a battle of brains. This defense-type soul master might be 2 ranks higher than you, but his defense is flawless. In fact, it's very easy for you to defeat him. There are many ways." Zhu Zhuqing clenched his fingers and listened carefully. A defense-type soul master's strength is mainly reflected in his defense. His attack power is very weak, and it's extremely difficult to simultaneously attack while defending. I saw just now, when you were fighting with him, he was defending the entire time. In the end, he directly exhausted your soul power and won the battle by dragging it out. This is the safest way for a defense-type soul master to fight against an agility-type soul master, but it's actually very easy to break. He has to expend his soul power to maintain his martial soul to defend himself. You didn't use any soul skills at all just now. You just surrounded him and feinted. If you drag it out until the end, his soul power would definitely be exhausted first. If you don't want to drag this out, it's very simple. After you feint a few times, he'll start to wonder if it's a real attack or a feint. The more time passes, the more hesitant he will become. He might even start to think that you won't attack at all. At that time, all you have to do is attack fiercely, and you can easily break through his defense. Zhu Zhuqing's eyes lit up when he heard Lin Feng casually mention the 2 methods. So it turns out that you can fight against a soul master like this. As an agility-type soul master, her first thought when fighting was to find an opportunity to end the battle quickly. The word drag simply didn't exist in her mind. "Fengge, thank you. I understand now." Zhu Zhuqing's face revealed a smile that hadn't appeared in a long time. "What do you understand? Tell me about it." Lin Feng was also curious as to whether Zhu Zhuqing had truly understood this sentence. When dealing with a defense-type soul master, you have to learn how to drag it out even more than him. Only then can you win. Zhu Zhuqing's face was slightly flushed from excitement. She already knew that if she learned from Lin Feng, she would definitely be able to strengthen herself. In just a few days, with just a few casual pointers, she had already learned how to fight against a defense-type soul master. "Zhu Zhuqing. Oh, Zhu Zhuqing, you're really a little elf." Buffed. Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. Zhu Zhuqing's face was full of doubt. Could it be that what he said was wrong? Why was Fengge laughing? "It seems that you still haven't fully understood." At this moment, Lin Feng shook his head. It seemed that not everyone was as talented as him. He was handsome and had even received 9 years of compulsory education. Although Zhu Zhuqing was smart, if she wanted to completely understand Lin Feng, she still needed his guidance. Thinking about this, Lin Feng continued, "Did I teach you how to fight against a defense-type soul master? What I teach you is that you have to learn to use your brain in battle. In a team battle, your attacking opportunities are obtained by your teammates. But in an individual battle, you have to create opportunities for yourself. Don't just think about how to attack. Attacking blindly isn't the key to victory. Sometimes, you can even defeat your opponent by just defending. When facing any opponent, you have to carefully consider what your advantages are and what your opponent's weaknesses are. Using your strengths to attack your opponent's weaknesses is the core of a battle. Do you understand?" Zhu Zhuqing went silent. She seemed to understand Lin Feng's words, but she also seemed to not understand. In any case, her mind was in a mess. Lin Feng patted her shoulder. "It's fine. Take your time to think about it. Anyway, there's still a lot of time in the future. Fight more, use your brain more, and you'll understand in the future." Just as he finished speaking, the broadcast informed Lin Feng that it was time for him to go on stage. When he came in earlier, he had changed his soul power level. Currently, it was rank 32. Even so, the staff members were still shocked when they saw his soul power level. Not long ago, he was rank 29. In just a few days, he was rank 32. This could only mean one thing. Lin Feng had just advanced, and the 3rd soul ring he had absorbed was at least a 1,000-year soul ring. This was because only a 1,000-year soul ring could increase a soul master's strength by 2 ranks. Because Tang San's soul ring had mutated and fused with a 3,000-year soul ring, his soul power level rose by 3 ranks out of thin air. He was now rank 37, the same as Daimu Bai. Xiao Wu, on the other hand, wasn't that impressive. She had only just reached level 32. Take Shi, go and sign up for a pair match. I'll end the battle soon. With that, Lin Feng got up and walked towards the center of the Great Soul Arena. His opponent was a rank 36 agility-type soul elder with a wind wolf martial soul. The battle ended very quickly. The host had just announced the start of the soul battle, and the soul elder on the opposite side didn't even have the chance to release his soul ring. Lin Feng's fist hit his stomach. Punch, withdraw, turn around, and leave. This series of actions was done in one go, leaving the audience with only Lin Feng's handsome cloak and shiny bald head. After a full 3 seconds of silence, when Lin Feng's figure disappeared from the field, the audience burst into enthusiastic cheers. Saitama! Saitama! Lin Feng's name was crazily shouted by the audience and the host. In the lounge, looking at Lin Feng who slowly walked in, Zhu Zhuqing said, "The pair match has been matched." After a pause, Zhu Zhuqing continued, "Feng Ge, I'm only ranked 20. I'll have to face 2 soul elders in the pair match later. I'm afraid I'll drag you down. How about—" Before he finished, Lin Feng directly interrupted, "Don't worry, there's no difference." Zhu Zhuqing, heartbreaking, old man. Chapter 109. When the combination of One Punch Man appeared in the Great Soul Arena, the atmosphere in the arena was stirred up again. The audience shouted Lin Feng's code name crazily, and their eyes were full of fanatical worship for the strong. Defeating a level 36 soul elder with 1 punch, and the opponent didn't even have a chance to react. For such a super powerhouse, the audience had no other thoughts except for shock. As for Zhu Zhuqing on the side, the audience subconsciously ignored him. They were all shouting, "One Punch Man Saitama." In this regard, Zhu Zhuqing was calm and indifferent on the surface, but she was very yearning in her heart. She didn't yearn for this feeling of cheering, but for Lin Feng's strength. Those were 2 soul elders, but he didn't put them in his eyes at all. He was really too strong. At this time, opposite Lin Feng was the Iron Bear combination who had won 3 rounds in a row. They also had a lot of popularity in the Great Soul Arena. When the 2 came out, they also heard people calling their names, but compared to Lin Feng, it was much less. The 2 people of the Iron Bear combination were both Assault-type soul elders. One was called Yang Tai, a level 39 soul elder with a patterned steel hammer martial soul. Lin Feng had seen the pattern of this martial soul before. Although it was somewhat similar to Tang San's Clear Sky hammer, its quality was far inferior. The other was called Zhang Lin, a level 40 soul elder with a violent golden bear martial soul. He was very strong, and the quality of his martial soul could be regarded as superior. Lin Feng and the others were already very unlucky to be matched with this combination, because a combination of this strength was generally aiming for the silver emblem. At this time, in the 14th Great Soul Arena, in the corner of the audience, 3 middle-aged men were talking. The 3 of them were one of the people in charge of the Great Soul Arena in Soto City. They just received the news that Saitama, who killed her opponent a few days ago, appeared again. They rushed over and wanted to talk to Lin Feng to see if they could recruit him to become a soul master of their Soto Arena. No matter which city soul dueling arena it was, they were all jointly established by the 7 most famous soul master clans on the continent. It could be said that it was a third-party force that didn't belong to the Empire or the Martial Soul Palace. Of course, although each Great Soul Arena belonged to the 7 great families, there was also a competitive relationship between the Great Soul Arenas. They could also be called small forces. The manager of Soto Arena wanted to take Lin Feng under his wing. As soon as they arrived, they received news that Saitama's group was going to have a soul duel. In order to see Lin Feng's strength again, they deliberately pulled some strings and got the strongest group of soul elders in the Copper Warrior Soul Realm to come here. This Saitama just defeated a rank 36 Soul Exalt with a single punch. Now that he's dragging a Soul Grandmaster along with him, I think it'll be very difficult for him to win against two top-level Soul Exalts who work well together. I think he should win very easily. He's too strong. He hasn't even used his martial soul yet. He's hiding too much of his strength. The third person was silent. He just stared at Lin Feng in the arena with curiosity in his eyes. At this moment in the arena, after the host introduced the situation of both sides, he directly announced the start of the soul duel. Zhu Zhuqing was ready for battle. His martial soul was instantly attached to his body, and two soul rings were also revealed. On the opposite side, Zhang Lin roared. The violent gold bear attached to his body, and his third soul ring lit up instantly. His whole body grew a little taller, and he attacked Lin Feng like a fierce tiger coming down from the mountain. On the side, Yang Tai was even faster. An iron hammer appeared in his hand instantly, and the first two yellow soul rings lit up at the same time. In the next second, the iron hammer was surrounded by a black light, and it seemed to have become a little smaller. He threw it forward, and the iron hammer seemed to have turned into a small black hole, smashing straight towards Lin Feng's head. The iron hammer was extremely fast, and it even let out a sharp sound of breaking through the air. The two teams were only 20 to 30 meters apart. With such a short distance, the iron hammer almost instantly arrived in front of Lin Feng. The surrounding audience held their breaths and watched the situation seriously. Some people guessed that the speed of the hammer was too fast. Lin Feng might not be able to react in time and might even be sent flying by the hammer, just like how he sent the others flying with his punch earlier. After all, this was a powerful rank 39 Soul Elder. Using his first two soul skills at the same time, this attack was extremely powerful. However, in the next second, something that shocked everyone happened. Lin Feng only raised his hand slightly and caught the hammer that was thrown at high speed with one hand. Looking at Yang Tai's incredulous expression, Lin Feng smiled. You know nothing about strength. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng exerted a little force and crushed the black hammer. Crack, crack. With his martial soul shattered, Yang Tai was instantly seriously injured and no longer had the strength to fight. It would take a lot of time to condense his martial soul again. At the same time, Zhang Lin's attack arrived in front of Lin Feng. This guy was also smart. He knew that Lin Feng was not easy to deal with. So his first target was Zhu Zhuqing. The second soul ring on his body lit up, and there seemed to be energy condensing in his mouth. With just a glance, Lin Feng knew that his second soul skill should be a long-range attack. However, he was too slow, and he made the same mistake as Yang Tai, which was that he knew nothing about Lin Feng's strength. The energy in his mouth was still condensing when Lin Feng jumped up and kicked him in the stomach. Bang! With a muffled sound, another person was stuck to the wall. At this point, one had lost the ability to fight, and the other had been sent flying. The Iron Bear combination had lost. The host straightforwardly announced the result of the match. At the same time, in the corner of the audience, the three people had already opened their mouths wide. So strong. Yeah, this Saitama is too strong. The two of them, who are also Soul Elders, actually couldn't resist at all. It's definitely a powerful, mutated martial soul. What are you still standing there for? Let's go. Don't wait for them to leave. The three of them immediately walked towards Lin Feng's lounge. Every lounge was directly connected to the soul dueling arena. Lin Feng and the others went down from the arena, and the first one they had to enter was their lounge. At this moment, the three of them quickly arrived outside the lounge and waited for Lin Feng and Zhu Zhuqing to come out. What they didn't know was that Lin Feng had already sensed the three of them from the violent footsteps. Who were these three people? The only people who could enter this lounge area, other than the contestants, were the staff members. Of course, it didn't matter who it was. The main thing was that Lin Feng was curious about the purpose of these three people. With that thought, Lin Feng opened the door of the lounge. He didn't wear a mask or anything at this moment. In any case, he didn't want to hide his identity. He only wore a mask for fun. Excuse me, are you Soul Elder Saitama? As soon as he opened the door, the person in the middle of the three asked. At this moment, Lin Feng discovered that these three people were all middle-aged men around 40 years old. There were soul power fluctuations on their bodies, but they weren't very strong. They should be soul kings, not even soul emperors. Chapter 110. After talking for a minute, Lin Feng finally understood the purpose of the three people's visit. They wanted to recruit him. In this regard, Lin Feng didn't even listen to their benefits and conditions and directly rejected them. Are you kidding me? A small Great Soul Arena wants to recruit me? So what if I have the 7 big families behind me? What a whimsical dream. Soul Elder Saitama, don't be in a hurry to refuse. If you become a Soul Master of Soto Arena, we can guarantee that from now on, we can ask the strong people in our family to help us hunt for all the soul rings up to Soul Douluo's level. We can also guarantee that it will be the best soul ring combination. If you can get a diamond rank soul fighting badge when you reach rank 70, our family can even give you a soul bone as a reward. This is a reward only for peerless geniuses. As he spoke, the middle-aged man's face was full of pride. After all, there weren't many forces in the entire continent that could give out something as precious as a soul bone as a reward. Even if the requirements were so harsh, it was a diamond rank soul fighting badge, the top badge, and only a few people in the entire history of the continent had it. But he also dared to guarantee that Lin Feng would definitely be tempted. After all, it was a soul bone. However, Lin Feng said indifferently, "Are you done? If you're done, then get out of the way." What? The three people were shocked. Lin Feng's reaction was too calm. That was a soul bone. Even if the conditions for obtaining it were extremely harsh, you should at least be excited about it. Why the hell did he say that he was leaving with an expressionless face? Did he not believe it, or did he not hear it clearly? The reward is a soul bone. And after you become a soul master of Soto Arena, for every battle you win, we will give you an extra 10 gold coins. This time, Lin Feng didn't even bother to speak and directly walked out. Behind him, Zhu Zhuqing's expression was slightly strange, but she immediately followed him. She couldn't help but turn around to look at the three people who were stunned. She also felt that it was very interesting. Fengge was truly unfathomable. Previously, when they were in the Stardow Great Forest, he had already thought that Tangsan Soulbone was no big deal. He had even accidentally revealed his wealth. It was as if the soul bones that other soul masters yearned for were just ordinary objects in front of Fengge. Now, the three of them were using soul bones to tempt Fengge. How interesting. Soul Elder Saitama, if you have any other requests, we can discuss them. He wanted to say something, but Lin Feng and Zhu Zhuqing had already turned the corner and disappeared from their sight. After leaving the Great Soul Arena, Lin Feng suddenly stood still. Take Shi, you go back first. I still have something to do in the city. Zhu Zhuqing nodded. She tactfully didn't ask any more questions and quickly left. Lin Feng glanced behind him, smiled slightly, and walked quickly toward the street. His footsteps gradually became faster. Then, in an alley, Lin Feng directly rushed in, and then activated the netherworld power. His whole body turned into a semi-intangible state, passed through several walls in succession, and left the place. When he appeared again, a mask was on Lin Feng's face, and his clothes had changed greatly. They sent a Soul King to follow me. This Great Soul Arena is dirty. However, at this time, Lin Feng easily got rid of the stalker and then went straight to the Great Soul Arena. After entering, Lin Feng didn't walk around. Instead, he went straight to the front desk to apply for a new Bronze Warrior Soul badge. 5 minutes later, Lin Feng got his new badge. Name, Soul Title, Thunder God Martial Soul. Big Iron Hammer, Tool Martial Soul. Level 37 type. Assault system. Without saying anything, Lin Feng directly started the match. The battle between Soul Masters was very fast. 10 minutes later, he started the battle. The battle between the Bronze Warrior Souls couldn't give Lin Feng any real combat experience at all. His 1,000 Trickster Ruler turned into a hammer, and the battle was over. 5 minutes after leaving the Great Soul Arena, Lin Feng ran back, but at this time, he had changed another mask and clothes. Of course, The mask and clothes were all transformed by the Thousand Trickster Ruler. At this time, the Thousand Trickster Ruler's transformation was very delicate, and it could even achieve the effect of passing off as a real person. If he were to just stand there, others would think that he was a real person. However, if he moved, he would be exposed very quickly. He didn't know whether it was the Thousand Trickster Ruler's problem or his lack of control. Anyway, he still couldn't reach the realm of knowing and doing as one. After changing his clothes, Lin Feng came to the front desk of the Great Soul Arena again. There were many soul masters wearing masks to hide their identity at the Great Soul Arena every day, so Lin Feng wasn't too conspicuous. 5 minutes later, a new badge appeared in his hand. Name, Tony. Title, Iron Man Martial Soul. Iron Clothes, Tool Martial Soul. Level 37 type. Assault System. 10 minutes later, Lin Feng walked out after winning another battle. 5 minutes later, he used the same trick again and obtained a new badge. Name, Parker. Title, Spider-Man Martial Soul. Ghost Head Hunting Spider. Beast Martial Soul. Level 37 type. Control System. 15 minutes later, a new badge appeared. Name, Hulk. Title, Hulk Martial Soul. Giant Berserk Bear. Beast Martial Soul. Level 37 type. Assault System. Just like that, another badge appeared, and another one, and another one. Lin Feng registered a total of 7 new badges. Other than the 4 above, the rest were: Name, Barton T'Challa Steve. Title, Hawkeye Black Panther 50/50 Captain Martial Soul. Bow, Tool Martial Soul. Wind Shadow Panther, Beast Martial Soul. Shield, Tool Martial Soul. Level 37, level 37 type. Agility, Assault System. There were a total of 7 new identities, just enough to form a team. They all had a ready-made name, which was called the Avengers. However, Lin Feng didn't think that he would be able to form this team unless the 1000G ruler mutated one day or something. Now, it was better to quickly get these identities to the Silver Battle Soul badge. Only by fighting at the Silver Battle Soul level would Lin Feng have the opportunity to learn. After the 7 new identities were all fought, this was already the 8th time Lin Feng came out of the Great Soul Arena. Because it was a new identity every time, other than the little sister at the front desk who helped him with the badge, it didn't attract any attention. But when he came tomorrow, it might not be so. Although he deliberately disguised himself in every battle, the process was very straightforward, and the most important thing was that he didn't reveal more than 2 soul rings in each of his identities. Either he didn't reveal any soul rings, or he revealed a 100-year soul ring at most. This strange situation, as well as his valiant battle record, made the host report the situation. And this situation was quickly reported to the 3 middle-aged men. Chapter 111. The people of Soto Arena quickly investigated Lin Feng's 7 new identities, and the final result of the investigation was, of course, that they couldn't find anything. This made the 3 people very puzzled. What was going on today? All of a sudden, 7 powerful soul elders popped up in Soto City, and they were all newly registered, which meant that these people were participating in soul battle for the first time. After thinking about it, they could only think that these people might be from the same place. After all, these people all had similarities. As for these were all the same person, they didn't think of this possibility at all. Martial spirits couldn't be faked. 6 or 7 different martial spirits appeared at once. How could it be the same person? However, how could they have thought that Lin Feng actually had a magical transformation type martial spirit like 1000G ruler? There was only one, but it could transform into countless. Not to mention the doubts of the Great Soul Arena. Lin Feng went out of the Great Soul Arena at this time and had a good meal in the city. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, he went to the snack street to buy a lot of snacks and then walked towards Shrek Academy. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning when he came out, and it was already 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when he returned to the school. Meow. As soon as he entered the school gate, a small figure jumped out from the corner and lightly jumped onto Lin Feng's shoulder. This was, of course, Xiao Ying. When he went out just now, he was going to take it with him, but it was with Xiao Wu at that time, so Lin Feng didn't care about it. Unexpectedly, when he came back at this time, he found that it had been waiting at the gate. Speaking of which, Xiao Wu seems to have a good impression of Xiaoying. When he came back before, Xiaoying often stuck with her. Xiao Wu wouldn't have found out its true identity, right? Cough, cough. Don't think too much. Xiaoying is a female leopard. With a wave of his hand, after feeding Xiaoying a bit of vitality, Lin Feng came to the dormitory area. Come out, I brought a lot of delicious food for you from Soto City. He shouted, but no one responded. This shouldn't be the case. Hence, Lin Feng carried his things and walked towards the field. If they weren't in the dormitory, it was very likely that these people were at the field. As he expected, there were many people on the field at this time. Not only were there Tang San and the other students, but there were also several teachers from the Shrek Academy and masters. Feng Ge, you came at the right time. The dean just called us over. Take Shi said that you had something to do in Soto City. We thought that you wouldn't be coming back tonight. Oscar chuckled as he approached. Ma Hongjun also said, yeah, Feng Ge, why did you come back in the afternoon? We all thought you were going to spend the night in Soto. When they said this, they all looked at Lin Feng with ambiguous eyes. Am I the kind of person who doesn't go home at night? Lin Feng said righteously, how could you think that? I originally wanted to bring you delicious food, but since you don't want to eat, then I'll give it to Xiaoying. Sigh. Don't Feng Ge, Oscar quickly said with a smile. Feng Ge is handsome and elegant. Why would he be angry over such a small matter? Yeah, Feng Ge is handsome, rich, mighty, and domineering. Why would he be so calculated with us? Ma Hongjun also ran over with a smile. Seeing this, Lin Feng revealed a rich smile. It's good that you know. After throwing the food to everyone, Lin Feng also stood with them. This scene caused all the teachers to smile without saying a word. This group of genius students being so harmonious was a good thing for them, especially the master. He secretly nodded. This Feng brat is worthy of being able to control geniuses like Xiao San and Xiao Wu. He's only been at Shrek Academy for a few days, and a group of unfamiliar geniuses are already convinced. At this time, Flanders stood in front of everyone with a serious face. He swept a glance over everyone. All right, since everyone is here, then I'll announce a few very important things. First, I'll introduce the Academy's teachers to you newcomers. As he spoke, Flanders pointed at an old man beside him. Lin Feng and the others had seen this person before. When they first came to the Academy, the teacher at the village entrance was him. This teacher's name is Li Yusong. His martial soul is the dragon pattern staff, and he's a rank 63 soul emperor. After saying that, Flanders didn't say much. He pointed at the second elder and said, this teacher's name is Lu Qibin. His martial soul is the scattered star chess, and he's a rank 66 soul emperor. Other than these two, the last teacher wasn't very old. He looked to be about the same age as Flanders. This teacher's name is Xiao Xin. His martial soul is Jelly Bean, and he's a food-type martial soul like Oscar. As for his rank, he's a rank 71 soul sage, a food-type soul master at the rank of a soul sage. Among all the food-type soul masters I know, Teacher Xiao is ranked in the top 5. The first two soul emperors didn't cause much of a change in everyone's expression when they heard them. However, when Xiao Xin was introduced, the new students were shocked. Even Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Lin Feng only remembered Flanders and Zhao Wuji from the Shrek Academy. As for the other teachers, he really forgot about them. This teacher didn't seem very tall, and his appearance was very ordinary. He really didn't expect him to be a food-type soul sage. A food-type soul master was a strategic resource. Even if he was only a soul sage, if he went to a large organization like the Martial Soul Hall, he might be able to become an elder. In some large families, he would be worshipped. At this moment, after the three teachers were introduced by Flanders, they all smiled and nodded at everyone. Even Teacher Xiao's gaze was more focused on Oscar, and there was even a trace of infatuation in it. Without thinking too much, Flinder walked up to the master, put his arm around the master's shoulder, and said to everyone, "Let's go." The last one relied on his own research to come up with the theory of the 10 core competencies of martial souls. He has an extremely high level of research on martial souls, and is known as the strongest person in the field of martial soul theory. He is also my brother, and I have known him for decades. At the same time, he is also Tang San's teacher, Mr. Yu Xiaojiang. You can call him Grandmaster. Xiao San's teacher. Oscar was stunned. Isn't that a big encyclopedia? Amazing. I've only heard of martial souls being a big core competency before, but I didn't expect it to be Tang San's teacher who came up with it. Ning Rongrong was surprised. The others were also quite shocked. From Tang San's words, they could roughly guess how knowledgeable his teacher was. He was proficient in martial soul knowledge and soul master knowledge. They didn't expect such a knowledgeable person to come to their school. So his name is Yu Xiaojiang. Tang San muttered. He wasn't shocked. He had already met the Grandmaster in the morning, but it was the first time he knew the Grandmaster's name. This made him feel very curious. Chapter 112. The Master waved at everyone, appearing very amiable. At this moment, Flanders said, "From today onwards, all of your training will be under the full authority of the Master. Our Academy's teachers will cooperate with the Master." The Master stopped waving and took a step forward to stand in front of everyone. Then, he calmly swept his gaze over everyone. Although he was facing geniuses, the Master's eyes were full of confidence. In his field of expertise, the Master was confident that no one could surpass him. Originally, he didn't plan to stay here, but yesterday, he saw Tang San's external soul bone. This matter was too important, so he decided to stay and personally teach Tang San. At this moment, Grandmaster slowly opened his mouth and said, "My name is Yu Xiaojiang. You can call me Grandmaster from now on. I've read all of your information and have a certain understanding of you. In the following period of time, I will customize a set of training plans for each of you. I will treat everyone equally. Furthermore, since you are monster students, my training method will also be monster level. You must persevere with strong beliefs, otherwise you don't deserve to be called monsters." Everyone's gaze tensed up. They weren't afraid, and their faces were full of strong confidence. No matter what kind of demonic training, they firmly believed that they would be able to persevere. Regarding this, the Master nodded in satisfaction. "Very good. Next, according to your strength, I will roughly divide you into 3 classes. For these 3 classes, I will give you different training programs." 3 classes? Everyone was very curious. How were the 3 classes divided? At this moment, the Master spoke. The first class, which is the low class, consists of Ning Rongrong, Ma Hongjun, and Zhu Zhuqing. The reason for this division is that you haven't reached the Soul Elder rank, so I will divide you into the low class. The main goal of this class is to quickly cultivate and then obtain your 3rd soul ring. The second class, which is not the middle class, is the high class. This class consists of Xiao Wu, Xiao San, Dai Mubai, and Oscar. The 4 of you are currently soul elders. The main goal of this level is to have a more detailed understanding of your soul power, soul skills, and martial soul. I will teach you the specific training separately. At this point, before the Grandmaster could say anything, everyone turned their attention to Lin Feng. After all, Lin Feng was the only one who hadn't been classified. He was definitely in the 3rd class. However, everyone was very curious as to why the Grandmaster had placed Lin Feng in the 3rd class. Wasn't he also a soul elder? At this moment, the Grandmaster spoke. The 3rd class, which is also the most special class. Lin Feng is the only one who doesn't have a rank. Hearing this, Lin Feng shrugged. Sigh, being too handsome is troublesome. Everyone was speechless. Shameless. Ning Rongrong snorted. Although the Master did not say the reason, everyone could guess. After all, Fenggu was too strong. He was so strong that he was no longer in the same world as them. How could he defeat a Soul King with a single punch? A Soul Master of this level should be classified into a separate class. The 3 classes are not to separate you. This is merely a goal. In the general direction, you are a group, and all of your training will be done together. The Grandmaster continued, "Because you just came back from a Stardow Great Forest, and because of time constraints, you'll have a day off today. All right, according to your age, I have arranged a ranking for you. Number 1, Dai Mubai. Number 2, Oscar. Number 3, Tang San. Number 4, Ma Hongjun. Number 5, Xiao Wu. Number 6, Ning Rongrong. Number 7, Zhu Zhuqing. As for Lin Feng, he is a little special, so he is not in this list for now. The Grandmaster had given Lin Feng enough respect. It couldn't be helped. The more the Grandmaster knew about him, the more shocked he was. When he was in his 3rd year, he actually found out that Lin Feng brought Xiao San and Xiao Wu to the Soul Hunting Forest to train more than once or twice. That was a place that even a Soul Grandmaster like him didn't go to. Moreover, he often saw Lin Feng fighting with Mistress and the others on the field. The way Lin Feng completely dominated his opponents had always touched his nerves. There were also all kinds of tricks in the academy, such as giving people gold coins and so on. In addition, he learned a lot of information about Lin Feng from Flanders and Tang San today. In any case, in the Grandmaster's heart, Lin Feng was simply a monster among monsters. Moreover, because of Thanos, Lin Feng gave people a mysterious feeling. All right, let's disperse for today. Have a good rest. After breakfast tomorrow, gather here. I don't want anyone to be late, or else they will be subjected to special training. After saying that, the Grandmaster looked deeply at everyone, then turned around and prepared to leave with Flanders and the others. However, at this moment, Tang San groaned in pain. In the next second, a purple light suddenly appeared behind him, as if something was about to break out of his body. Everyone disperse. Stay away from Xiao San, Lin Feng shouted. At this moment, no one hesitated, and all of them ran outside at the first moment. At the same time, Tang San's back suddenly split open, and 8 sharp spider legs shot out. Everyone tried their best to walk out, but Ning Rongrong and Oscar were support-type soul masters after all. Their physical fitness was inferior to the others, so they were a step slower. Chi! Their shoulders were scratched by the sharp spider spears on Tang San's back. For a moment, they felt weak and fell to the sides. Seeing this, Xiao Wu and Dai Mubai immediately helped the two of them up. At this moment, Lin Feng stepped lightly and shot to Tang San's side, then grabbed him from behind with his left hand. The angle was extremely tricky, and he dodged the disorderly attack of the spider spears. His 5 fingers spread open, and he actually firmly grabbed the 8 thin spider spears together. For a moment, Tang San was like a rooster whose wings had been grabbed, and the 8 spider spears instantly quieted down. Xiao San. At this moment, the Grandmaster and the others also reacted. The few teachers quickly reacted. Teacher Xiao Xian directly released his soul skill, and 2 green jelly beans were made. He was about to pass them to Ning Rongrong and Oscar. The Grandmaster also came in front of Tang San and said, Xiao San, relax your entire body. Don't think about anything else. Control your soul power and slowly approach your back. Then, touch the 8 spider legs behind you and use your mind to control them. Imagine the feeling of retracting the spider legs. Take a deep breath and do it slowly. At the same time, Dai Mubai also shouted, Teacher Xiao San's spider legs are poisonous. Recovery jelly beans have no effect. Ning Rongrong and Oscar both frowned. The poison was extremely terrifying, and the flesh around the wound had already festered. At this moment, Lin Feng coughed and said, Actually, you guys don't have to go through so much trouble. The Grandmaster raised his head. Lin Feng didn't say anything. Suddenly, he tapped Tang San's chest, and a wave of soul power spread out for his fingertip into Tang San's body. In the next second, as if a switch had been triggered, the 8 spider spears behind Tang San's back instantly retracted. At the same time, Lin Feng waved his hand, and 2 green energies flew towards Ning Rongrong and Oscar. The wounds on their bodies healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a breath's time, the 2 of them recovered completely. It was like a miracle. Isn't this much simpler? At this moment, Lin Feng said with a smile. Everyone, after a long time, the Grandmaster sighed. You can always come up with new tricks for me. Chapter 113. After Tang San put away his 8 spider spear, Lin Feng patted his head and said, Xiao San, you can't even control a soul bone. You're embarrassing me. The latter touched his head and said with a slight grievance, Fengge, I thought I had this thing under control. I didn't expect it to suddenly appear. Still acting pitiful, Lin Feng's eyes widened. Hurry up and feel it for yourself. Remember the path of that soul power just now. Oh, Tang Sin lowered his head and was reprimanded. At this moment, the master said in a deep voice, Xiao San's soul bone is mutated. Because of the mutation, it might be a little unstable in the beginning. So, Xiao San, you have to learn to control it well in the next period of time. An external soul bone was a very special soul bone. It could even be peeled off in the beginning. If a strong person discovered Tang San's external soul bone, they would even kill him. It was also because of this that the master chose to stay. He wanted to protect Tang San. It was not protection. He wanted to carry out a devilish training for Tang San, so that Tang San's soul power could better adapt to this external soul bone. From then on, the soul bone would completely fuse with him. If Lin Feng had not pointed out the concept of a soul bone previously, the master might have just concealed it. But now, he still had to warn them. Listen up, Xiao San's soul bone is a little special. Don't use it if you can. Don't talk nonsense. It's best to keep a secret. Yes. Everyone nodded. Tang San said, Teacher, I will be careful. And Xiao Feng's ability. His martial soul is the most special I have ever seen. A soul skill can have so many effects. Don't spread it out. The master knew that Lin Feng's martial soul was very powerful and could easily heal wounds. But he did not expect that not only could it heal wounds, but it could also cure poison. It was really omnipotent. This was a false alarm. After a few words of advice, the master left. On the spot, everyone instantly surrounded Tang San, discussing his 8th spider spear. Previously, when they saw it in the forest, they thought that it was just very sharp. They didn't expect it to be so poisonous. Xiao San, your poison is so strong. I wonder if Xiao Ao's sausage can neutralize it. Dai Mubai rubbed his chin with a curious look. You want to know? Won't you know if you try? Lin Feng chuckled. I'm not going to try. In the blink of an eye, Dai Mubai caught sight of Ma Hongjun and chuckled. Fatty, I remember you wanted to touch Xiao San's soul bone back in the Star Do Great Forest. Do you want to give it a try now? Ma Hongjun immediately shook his head like a rattle drum and even backed away in fear. What's there to be afraid of? The monster captain is here. Rong Rong and Xiao Ao's injuries will be healed soon. Nothing will happen. Seeing that Dai Mubai was still scaring Ma Hongjun, Lin Feng smiled and shook his head. There's no need to try. It can't be cured. It's useless. Fengge, how do you know? Although it was very likely to be true, Oscar was still unconvinced. He was a soul exalt, and Tang San was a soul exalt as well. This poison wasn't a soul skill, so even if it couldn't be cured, it should have at least done something. But it didn't do anything at all. Xiao San's soul bone is very special. The poison on it is not condensed from his soul power. It is the poison of the soul beast itself. Think about it. The man-faced demon spider that Xiao San killed was 3,000 years old. Can you cure its poison? 3,000 years old man-faced demon spider. After hearing Lin Feng's words, everyone opened their mouths in shock. They even forgot about the poison. Originally, they thought that Tang San's soul ring was at most 2,000 years old, even though it had exceeded the age limit. After all, Zhao Wuji guessed that it was 2,000 years old. But now, Lin Feng actually said that it was 3,000 years old. This made them very surprised. Tang San rubbed the back of his head and said with a silly face, "It should be." In fact, Tang San was not sure about the age of this soul beast. He estimated that it was more than 2,800 years old. So when Zhao Wuji said that it was 2,000 years old, he didn't say anything. It was fine to hide a little. But now that Lin Feng had pointed out, it didn't matter much. Anyway, the most important thing was still his soul power level. Now that he was rank 37, this was his biggest trump card. Hiss. Hearing him admit it, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Ning Rongrong sighed. I suddenly realized that third brother and Fengge are a little monster and a big monster. In front of them, we can't even be considered monsters. We can only be considered ordinary people. Yeah, that's what I feel too. The two of them are too strong. Dai Mubai also sighed with emotion. Control-type soul masters generally restrained assault-type soul masters. Now that Tang San was also a soul elder, Dai Mubai felt that he might not be able to beat him. Tang San smiled and said something that Lin Feng used to say. Actually, I'm only a little bit more hardworking than you guys. Master will start training us tomorrow. When the time comes, you'll definitely catch up to me. Everyone, they only felt that it was very familiar. Lin Feng seemed to have said something similar in the past. So this is what a big shot should say. Finally, after a few words, everyone dispersed. Some people went to Soto City to play, some went to the Great Soul Arena to fight, and some returned to the dormitory. Lin Feng belonged to the third group. He was about to return to the dormitory, but after taking 2 steps, Ning Rongrong caught up with him. What's the matter? Lin Feng asked curiously. Ning Rongrong, this girl, has been quite diligent since the bet. When Lin Feng went to Soto City in the morning, he saw her running. And now there was nothing. Logically speaking, she should be going back to the dormitory to meditate. Suddenly looking for him, Lin Feng couldn't figure out why Ning Rongrong was looking for him. I heard from Take Shi that you went to Soto City to fight souls with her today. Ning Rongrong's tone had a hint of nervousness. Didn't I say this just now? Didn't you hear it? Lin Feng was slightly puzzled. No. Ning Rongrong was silent for a while and whispered that I also want to participate in the soul battle. Ning Rongrong's meaning was very simple. She wanted to form a team with Lin Feng and then fight souls together, but she was a little shy and didn't say it out loud. However, Lin Feng didn't think of this at all. He teased Xiao Ying and said casually, if you want to participate, then participate. No one is stopping you. How can I, a support-type soul master, fight? I want to find someone to team up with. Ning Rongrong's voice was slightly higher. Then go find one. Why are you telling me this? Lin Feng touched Xiao Ying's chin, making it squint comfortably. You. Humph. I won't say any more. Ning Rongrong was really angry. Why should I look for you? Of course, I want to team up with you. You don't even understand this. What a pig. With that thought, Ning Rongrong turned around and left angrily. Wait. Lin Feng knew what Ning Rongrong was thinking. He said that just to tease her. What? Ning Rongrong turned around with her hands on her hips. She looked very angry, but there was a hint of joy on her face. You want to team up with this lady? This pig head wasn't stupid to the extreme. He actually understood what she meant. However, Lin Feng smiled and said, Xiao Ling could do backflips in places with fewer people. Do you want to see it? Yeah, backflip? Chapter 114. In fact, one person could get several badges of the Great Soul Arena, but the points of each badge were calculated separately. There was no benefit in getting more badges. Moreover, one badge cost 100 gold coins. It was not a small number, so generally no one would do so. Ning Rongrong's idea was to get Lin Feng another badge and then play with her. Lin Feng did not refuse. Since this girl wanted to play, he could play with her sometimes. But if he had to spend time with her, then forget it. Wouldn't it be better to meditate if he had the time? So after telling Ning Rongrong that he would definitely do it next time, Lin Feng directly drove her out. Just like that, Lin Feng concentrated on meditating in the dormitory. The next morning, Lin Feng ended a night of meditation and looked at the soul power in his body with a smile on his face. At this speed, he estimated that he would be able to advance to rank 70 in a week at most. Thinking about the refreshing feeling of increasing his soul power after such a long time of independent cultivation, Lin Feng was looking forward to the breakthrough to rank 70. After washing up, Lin Feng walked out of the dormitory and went straight to the cafeteria. Usually at this time, there was no food in the cafeteria, but the master said yesterday that he would personally make breakfast in the future. At this time, it should be ready. As soon as he entered the cafeteria, Lin Feng smelled a strong fragrance of meat. The master was busy arranging the food on the plate and then putting it on the table. On the side, Tang San was assisting him. In addition, Lin Feng also saw Zhu Zhuqing. She was eating breakfast silently. When Lin Feng came in, she looked up and nodded as a greeting. Xiao San, give me a portion for 2. I have to eat more of the master's cooking. When they were in Nodding City, the master often gave Tang Sen special treatment. His cooking skills were very good. Sometimes Lin Feng and Xiao Wu could also benefit from it. Now that the master was personally cooking, Lin Feng still missed that kind of taste very much. All right, Feng Ge, the things that teacher made today were all enough. It's not a problem for everyone to eat 2 servings. With a smile, Tang Sen brought 2 sets of breakfast to Lin Feng. At this time, the others also entered the cafeteria one after another. For a moment, the cafeteria was filled with praises for the master. However, the master did not lose himself in the praises of handsome boy. After everyone had arrived, he said in a deep voice, "Tomorrow's breakfast time will be earlier than today's. I will make breakfast at dawn. If you don't come to eat in half an hour, you don't have to eat." Why do you have to eat so early? It's to give you more time to digest. That way, you'll have enough strength for training. Otherwise, you might not even be able to endure the most basic training. Regarding this, no one said anything. They knew that this was for their own good. If he wanted to become a genius and quickly increase his strength, he had to pay the price. After breakfast, everyone gathered at the field together. The master stood in front of everyone and glanced at them coldly. "I know your information, but I don't know your actual situation. So now I want to understand it properly and give some suggestions at the same time." At this time, the master's gaze landed on Lin Feng. "Lin Feng, you step forward." Lin Feng did not say anything and stepped forward. "I believe all of you are aware of Lin Feng's strength. He's not on the same level as all of you. So from today onwards, in the future training, he can be considered half a teacher to all of you." The master was very clear about Lin Feng's strength. It was not only his strength in terms of soul power rank, but also his teaching ability. It could be said that 1/3 of the knowledge that Tang Sen currently had was learned from Lin Feng. As for Xiao Wu, the master did not take the initiative to teach her. Most of it was learned from Tang Sen and Lin Feng. At this moment, the 2 of them were very outstanding, which was enough to prove how strong Lin Feng was. "Now, Lin Feng, you watch from the side. Dai Mu Bai, step forward." Hearing the master shout, Dai Mu Bai directly stepped forward without any delay. "You are a rank 37 soul elder. You are the strongest among the 7 people, except for Lin Feng. Now, you will fight with each of them. In the first round, you will fight with Xiao San. Xiao San cannot use those special weapons, nor can he use his 3rd soul skill." "Master, this is a little unfair. Xiao San can't even use his 3rd soul skill. He definitely can't beat me," Dai Mu Bai hurriedly said. The 2 of them had sparred before, so Dai Mu Bai had a rough understanding of Tang San's strength. If he used the White Tiger's Vidra transformation and Tang San did not use his 3rd soul skill, he would definitely be able to win. As for using his 3rd soul skill, Dai Mu Bai had not fought yet. He would only know after fighting. "Fair?" the master said indifferently. "There is no such thing as absolute fairness in this world. Control-type soul masters are usually the strongest in a one-on-one fight. If I don't let Xiao San use his 3rd soul skill, your chances of winning are quite high. However, since you want to be fair, then Xiao San, use your full strength." After saying that, the master glanced at Lin Feng and thought, "Anyway, there is a support-type soul master with super strong healing abilities. Getting injured is not a problem at all." "Yes, teacher." Tang Sen nodded and stepped forward. At this moment, the others tactfully retreated, leaving the arena to the 2 of them. "Mu Bai, as long as you can break my 3rd soul skill, I'll consider it my loss." Tang San was very confident in the strength of his 3rd soul skill. He had tested it before. It was so tough that even a soul ancestor would find it hard to break it, let alone Dai Mu Bai, who was only a soul elder. "I'll try," Dai Mu Bai shouted. "White Tiger, possess." The moment his martial soul possessed, Dai Mu Bai's 1st and 3rd soul rings lit up at the same time. The White Tiger's shield and the White Tiger's Vajra transformation were instantly added to his soul skills. In the next second, Dai Mu Bai was like a Real tiger as he charged towards Tang San. He knew that in a fight with a control-type soul master, he could not think about probing. He had to get close at the first opportunity to display his strength. However, Tang San's reaction was faster. His third soul ring lit up. Third soul skill, binding spiderweb. The blue-silver grass in his hands were like poisonous snakes as they surrounded Dai Mubai from all directions. White Tiger's fierce light wave. Dai Mubai roared and spat out a light wave from his mouth. He wanted to change the trajectory of the blue-silver grass. At the same time, Dai Mubai's hands formed into claws as he wanted to cut off the blue-silver grass before it could get close to his body. However, it was all in vain. Tang San's third soul skill had completely exceeded his expectations. The blue-silver grass was abnormally tough and fast. Dai Mubai couldn't harm it at all. Moreover, the moment he touched it, the blue-silver grass turned into a cage, imprisoning his entire body. Chapter 115. That's enough. Seeing that Dai Mubai had been trapped, the master called out to Tang San. As long as he was trapped, Dai Mubai would lose. Tang San's blue-silver grass wasn't just used to trap people. The moment the blue-silver grass wrapped around Dai Mubai's body, the poison had already entered his body. Dai Mubai was at his strongest when he first came into contact with the blue-silver grass. If he couldn't break out of the cage now, he would definitely be unable to break out of it later. After the master called for him to stop, Tang San immediately removed the cage and absorbed the poison from Dai Mubai's body. A control-type soul master can be said to be the bane of an assault-type soul master like you. The master indifferently summarized the fight just now. You wanted to rely on your own strength to tear apart Xiao San's blue-silver grass. That was a good idea, but you clearly underestimated your opponent's strength. Under rank 60, control-type soul masters can be said to be invincible in one-on-one fights. The best way to face them is to restrain them. Make them unable to display their strength. And this is very difficult for a solo soul master. At this time, you need the strength of a team. If you don't have a team, the best way to deal with a control-type soul master alone is to pull away and then immediately run away. Run as fast as you can and don't think about counterattacking. After explaining the points to take note of, the master continued. Since we've talked about this point, then you don't need to fight anymore. Xiao San, recover first. Later, you will challenge Xiao Wu. As for now, Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing, the two of you will challenge the combination of Ma Hongjun and Oscar. 2v2. Dai Mubai felt that there was something worth watching. Master, this isn't good. We're two guys, and I'm already rank 31. It's not good to bully two little girls. Oscar looked at the master with some hesitation. Ma Hongjun also said, "Yes, master, Oscar and I are very strong. Boss Dai might not be able to beat us. It's not right to bully two little girls." As soon as he said this, Ning Rongrong was immediately unhappy. She put her hands on her hips and shouted, "We don't know who's bullying who. I'll go with Takshi. I don't want the two of you looking for your teeth on the floor." Zhu Zhuqing was even more straightforward. He said directly, "Let's begin." Hearing this, Oscar still wanted to say something, but the master spoke first. "Now, the two of you are a small team. Your goal is to use all your strength to defeat your opponent. There is no difference between men and women. If you choose to hold back, you will only be hurt. You have 1 minute to discuss tactics. Once the time is up, the battle will begin." After hearing the master's words, both sides immediately quieted down and began to discuss. Just like this, after a minute, the master said that the time was up and both sides began to move. Ning Rongrong immediately used her soul skill on Zhu Zhuqing. The latter also used martial soul possession and attacked Oscar. Zhu Zhuqing knew that when facing the combination of Oscar and Ma Hongjun, she had to use her advantage in speed to kill Oscar. Only then would they feel much better. Otherwise, with Oscar around, Ma Hongjun's strength would be greatly increased. However, Ma Hongjun had already guessed their intentions. He immediately used Phoenix Fireline and spat out flames to guard against Zhu Zhuqing's attack. This was a moving fire snake, and Ma Hongjun was controlling it. Even though Zhu Zhuqing had Ning Rongrong's speed, he wasn't confident that he could break through this line of defense. Oscar took advantage of this gap to immediately create 2 mushroom sausages and eat them together with Ma Hongjun. During this short gap, Zhu Zhuqing immediately attacked the two of them. However, the mushroom sausages had already taken effect, and the two of them quickly flew into the sky. Seeing this, Dai Mubai laughed. Little Ao and Fatty are smart. Once they fly into the sky, they're already in an invincible position. Furthermore, Fatty is a long-range attacker. As long as he keeps spitting fire in the sky, Takeshi and Rongrong will be too tired to run and lose in 3 minutes. Things were just as Dai Mubai said. Ma Hongjun was in the air, using the distance between them to launch long-range attacks on Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong's speed wasn't fast, and she still had to be carried by Zhu Zhuqing. Dodging like this was extremely exhausting. Not to mention 3 minutes, it was already very good to be able to hold on for 1 minute without being burned. This was the result of Ma Hongjun going easy on him. With Oscar's sausages, he could hold on for a few minutes in the air, so he was somewhat relaxed. Takeshi can't run away. The two of them are in the sky, and we don't have any long-range attacks. They are already in an invincible position. Ning Rongrong knew that if Ma Hongjun used his full strength, they wouldn't even have a chance to speak. Hold on. Zhu Zhuqing was thinking about how to break out of this situation. She remembered the words that Lin Feng said yesterday in her heart. Fighting relied on the brain. If there was no opportunity, you had to create your own opportunity. At this time, Ma Hongjun and Oscar were flying in the sky. They seemed to be invincible, but there must be a way to take them down. Just as Zhu Zhuqing was thinking of a way, the master on the side was also counting the time. If the two of them couldn't make an effective counterattack in 30 seconds, he would call for a stop. After all, there wouldn't be any effect if they continued like this. Third brother, who do you think will lose? Xiao Wu asked Tang San. Before Tang San answered, Dai Mubai on the side smiled and said, "It must be Fatty and the others who will win. The advantage is so obvious, and they are flying in the sky. Takeshi can't touch them at all. How can they win?" Tang San smiled and didn't say anything. He just waited quietly for the result. Fenggu once told him that all predictions were useless before the battle was over because no one knew what would happen in the next second. In Tang San's view, this battle was about to end. If Zhu Zhuqing and the others couldn't find a way to fight back, they would lose immediately. And if they found a way to fight back, Ma Hongjun and Oscar would definitely lose. Because the two of them were so complacent in the sky, they followed the two of them in a daze without any vigilance. If Tang San made a move, two hidden weapons could easily take their lives. Just when he had this idea, Zhu Zhuqing finally found a way to fight back. Taking advantage of the gap when Ma Hongjun just released a soul skill, her first and second soul rings lit up at the same time. Her hands suddenly stabbed toward the ground. Shrek Academy's field hadn't been repaired for a long time. The stone ground on the ground was a little bumpy. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing's hands, with the support of her soul skill, were like pig iron. She actually grabbed a stone the size of a goose egg. She turned around, aimed, and suddenly threw it. Zhu Zhuqing's movements were smooth, and the stone hit Ma Hongjun's head. Ah! With a scream, Ma Hongjun fell to the ground while holding his bleeding forehead. During this time, Oscar didn't even have time to react. When he was about to rescue him, Zhu Zhuqing had already rushed over and placed her hand on Ma Hongjun's neck. This sudden reversal not only stunned Oscar and Ma Hongjun, but even Ning Rongrong was in disbelief. Just a second ago, the two of them were still running away in a sorry state, and even wanted to admit defeat. In the next second, Ma Hongjun was caught. There was only Oscar left, who didn't have any attack power. Zhu Zhuqing and the others had already won. Dai Mubai, who was at the side, opened his mouth wide and said in disbelief, "This works." Everyone had different reactions, but the master said with a smile, "Not bad. To be able to think of this method is very good." Chapter 116. Douluo's continent's soul masters, especially the low-ranked ones, felt like their thoughts were restricted when they fought. When they fought, they only thought about their own soul power and soul skills. As for other things, they rarely used them. Just like Zhu Zhuqing, if it wasn't for Lin Feng's reminder yesterday, the result would be completely different. Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong have won this battle. Oscar, come down. Grandmaster walked over with a smile on his face. Ning Rong Rong opened her mouth in shock. Take she, you're so smart. You actually thought of using a rock to hit people. I didn't have any other thoughts besides running. Ma Hongjun grimaced. You actually thought of using a rock to hit me. I'm very convinced. It's just that my head hurts a little. Dai Mubai looked at Zhu Zhuqing and didn't know what to say for a moment. He originally thought that the two of them would lose, but he didn't expect his face to be slapped so hard in the end. I was only inspired by someone. Zhu Zhuqing glanced at Lin Feng, then said coldly, he told me that the most important thing in a battle isn't to use your soul skills to rush forward, but to learn how to use your brain. Using your strengths to attack your opponent's weaknesses is the core of a battle. He also said that the essence of a battle is to find an opportunity and seize it to attack. If there isn't an opportunity, then create one yourself. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone fell silent. There was no other reason. These words summed up the battle too well. They were all shocked. They didn't dare to imagine how knowledgeable and talented a person who could say such words must be. It was a textbook answer that could be understood as soon as they heard it. Most importantly, it could open up a soul master's mind. Grandmaster trained them so that they could quickly become stronger. This was also part of the reason why he trained them. However, Grandmaster's mind didn't completely jump out of the limits of this era. After hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, he felt extremely agitated. He couldn't wait to talk to the person who said these words for 3 days and 3 nights. Good, good, good. These words were too well said. It's like all the essence is concentrated in the middle. Grandmaster was extremely excited. He looked at Zhu Zhuqing and asked solemnly, the person who can say such words is definitely a master of combat. He has a lot of experience. Is he your teacher? Zhu Zhuqing shook his head with a strange expression. Then he looked at Lin Feng and said, Master, these words were taught to me by Lin Feng. Grandmaster, everyone was speechless. Almost in an instant, everyone's eyes were on Lin Feng. At this time, Lin Feng was preparing to use vitality to heal Ma Hongjun. Being looked at by everyone, he was slightly stunned. Should he give the vitality in his hand or not? In the end, he slapped the vitality onto Ma Hongjun's head and said calmly, Why are you all looking at me? It's just a few words. This indifferent operation, this simple reaction, it gave Tang San a lot of inspiration. So, this is the magnanimity of a big shot? Previously, he always felt that Feng Ge had a unique temperament when he spoke. Only now did Tang San know that it was the temperament of a big shot. Obviously, it was already an earth-shattering witticism, the kind that even the masters felt very shocked. But in the eyes of Brother Feng, it was just a few ordinary words. TSK, what was this scene called? Yes, it was the word that Feng Ge said before. Pretentious. Ahem. Grandmaster coughed twice to ease the awkwardness. He was flattering Lin Feng just now. He didn't expect that the person who said this was actually Lin Feng. It was too awkward. Then, Grandmaster said, Lin Feng is right. Combat relies on the brain. You have to use all the power you can use nearby. Regarding this, you have to learn from Zhu Zhuqing and Lin Feng. Everyone nodded, expressing their agreement with these words. In fact, Grandmaster didn't need to say anything. After walking around the Star Do Great Forest, they were already full of admiration for Lin Feng. At this time, Grandmaster calmed down. Now, let me comment. In this battle, if both sides are experienced soul masters and understand each other very well, then Zhu Zhuqing's only hope of winning is to take the risk of being burned by Ma Hongjun at the beginning and attack Oscar. But just now, Zhu Zhuqing, you still hesitated and didn't have the courage to attack. Logically speaking, you should have lost. The reason why you won now is mainly because Ma Hongjun was too careless. The flying speed provided by the mushroom intestine is extremely fast, but he didn't take advantage of it. Instead, he completely let his guard down and was hit by your stone in the end. Hearing this, Ma Hongjun subconsciously touched his forehead. Although the wound had healed at this time, he could still remember the pain. Then the master continued, All right, keep in mind the few points I just mentioned. Lil, 3, and Xiao Wu, are you two ready? The two nodded. If you're ready, then let's start. I haven't seen you for a while, and you're already a soul elder. Your progress is really fast. After sighing, Grandmaster slowly retreated to the side. On the field, Tang San and Xiao Wu also got into position. Third brother, let me win later. Last night, when they had a two-man battle in the Great Soul Arena, Xiao Wu had seen Tang San's strength. She knew that the chances of beating Tang San were very low, so before the fight started, she wanted to play the emotional card. However, Tang San was deeply influenced by Lin Feng and knew one sentence. Sweat more now, bleed less later. Xiao Wu is obviously also a genius, but she always liked to slack off in the past few years. Now that he was level 37, this girl was only level 32. She really needs to be taught a lesson today. Thinking about it, Tang San said, Xiao Wu, I won't hold back. Today, I'll let you see what the gap is. Humph. Xiao Wu snorted coldly, without saying a word. She used martial soul possession, and then rushed towards Tang San. Smelly third brother, you don't want to let me win. I'll beat you up today. Seeing this, Tang San smiled slightly. The blue-silver grass in his hand moved, and the two instantly fought. Xiao San and Xiao Wu knew each other very well, and after several years of training, they had full control of their own strength. At this time, they were really busy fighting. At this time, Grandmaster slowly came to Lin Feng's side, and then said, Later, after they're done fighting, you can help them recover, and then we'll have the last battle. The last battle? You'll know later. Grandmaster smiled and said nothing. Seeing this, Lin Feng was slightly puzzled, but vaguely, he seemed to have guessed Grandmaster's intention. This last battle might be related to him. Chapter 117. The battle between Tang San and Xiao Wu could be said to be very exciting. Because of their familiarity, Xiao Wu could easily predict the attack trajectory of Tang San's blue-silver grass. Xiao Wu wasn't slow either, so it was very difficult for Tang San to completely trap her. This was especially true when Xiao Wu had her third soul skill, teleportation. There were even a few times when she managed to get close to Tang San. However, Tang San was still much stronger than Xiao Wu. Furthermore, he was also very familiar with Xiao Wu. There were a few times when Xiao Wu wanted to smash Tang San's head, but she was always dodged. Just like this, after a minute of intense battle, Tang San finally found an opportunity to tie up Xiao Wu's legs. Then he suddenly pulled and threw her to the ground. Following that, Tang San rushed forward and pressed her to the ground. If it were anyone else, they would have been pressed down by Tang San. But Xiao was just too slippery. Her teleportation always allowed her to escape when she was about to be trapped. Otherwise, even if she knew him well, Tang San would have been able to trap her in an instant. Both of them are so strong. And there's also Xiao San. Why do I feel like they didn't use their full strength just now? Dai Mubai was a little shocked. He suddenly felt that if Xiao were to fight with him, he might even lose. One had to know that he was a rank 37 Soul Elder, and Xiao Wu was only rank 31. He actually felt like he would lose. From this, it could be seen how strong Xiao Wu's performance just now was. Tang San is strong, but Xiao Wu used her third soul skill 8 times in a row in such a short period of time. How'd she do that? Ning Rongrong's focus was completely different from Dai Mubai's. She wasn't the only one. Everyone else was also very puzzled as to how Xiao Wu could use her third soul skill so quickly. There was also her second soul skill, Charm, which she used very frequently. Fortunately, Tang San had the purple demon eyes, or else he would have fallen for it. And this point was extremely shocking. High-ranked soul masters were able to unleash some low-ranked soul skills consecutively due to their stronger physique and better control of their soul power. For low-level soul masters, soul power undulations were extremely intense when they used soul skills, and it was generally very difficult for them to continuously use soul skills. Of course, soul elders couldn't be considered as high-level soul masters. Being able to use their first soul skill in a row was an extremely difficult task. For someone like Xiao Wu to be able to use her second and third soul skills consecutively was truly unbelievable. One had to know that a soul elder's soul power was limited. Oscar's soul power would have been completely depleted after creating 10 mushroom intestines. However, Xiao Wu had teleported 8 times and used her charm 5 or 6 times. Right now, she looked like she had an abundance of soul power, which simply defied common sense. As for Lin Feng's previous challenge to Zhao Wuji, did he also use soul skills consecutively? There was no comparison at all. Okay? Feng was a monster. Xiao Wu wasn't. At this moment, the Grandmaster wasn't too surprised. He knew a little about the situation between the two of them. Tang Xin had told him about the ability to use soul skills consecutively, so he was mentally prepared. Using soul skills consecutively isn't a difficult task. You just have to practice more. I'll learn it from Feng Ge, Xiao Wu said casually as she walked over. I guess it a long time ago. It must have been Feng Ge who taught you. Oscar slapped his head in realization. As soon as he said that, Xiao Wu wasn't happy. She clenched her fists. What do you mean you guessed a long time ago? Are you looking down on me, Xiao Wu? Although it's mainly because Feng Ge taught me well, I'm also very smart. Okay? Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to learn it. Even third brother didn't learn it as well as I did. During the fight, just now, Tang Xin really didn't use many soul skills. However, the main reason wasn't that Tang Xin didn't know how to use them, but that his soul skills were very special. They were continuous. It was similar to Alchemist's Q and Death Song's E skill. As long as it was activated, it could be maintained by constantly expending soul power. Xiao Wu's soul skill was equivalent to Easy's Q and Hanbing's R. They were both continuous, so there was a fundamental difference between the two. Xiao Wu was clearly aware of this, but she couldn't lose in terms of aura. Tang Xin only smiled at this and didn't say anything. Feng Ge, quickly teach us. What's going on? Ma Hongjun quickly asked. He couldn't wait to know how to continuously release soul skills. When he was chasing after Zhu Zhuqing and the others in the sky just now, it was because he couldn't continuously release soul skills. He had to pause for a while in between, so he gave Zhu Zhuqing and the others a chance to catch their breath. Otherwise, if he continued to spit out flames, they wouldn't even have the chance to catch their breath, let alone throw stones at him. They would have been tired out. It's actually very simple. Lin Feng was very indifferent to the gazes that were focused on him. The so-called soul skill is just a special form of the combination of the soul ring and one's martial soul. In essence, it's still the use of one's soul power. If you understand the use of soul power enough, creating your own soul skill is a very simple matter. What? You can even create your own soul skill? Everyone was shocked by Lin Feng's words. They had never thought of this idea before, and they had never seen this concept anywhere. Even the Grandmaster was completely shocked by this idea. There were actually self-created soul skills, but there wasn't a complete system in the entire continent, let alone analyzing its principles. Those soul masters who had self-created soul skills, if you asked them to describe the feeling, they would describe it in a mess. So now, Master was very shocked by Lin Feng's words that were almost direct to the core. Lin Feng, have you experimented with this kind of thing before? Master quickly asked. Hearing this, Lin Feng was stunned. Xiao San and Xiao Wu don't count. Count? Of course. Master was also anxious. In his excitement, he even ignored the example in front of him. Can you explain it in detail? Master had done research in this area before and had a set of theories in his heart. Now, he wanted to hear Lin Feng talk about it and see how much of his theory was similar to his. Lin Feng nodded and then said, the soul skill formed by the combination of the soul ring and your martial soul is actually a template, and your soul power is the energy of this template. If you inject enough energy into the template, you will be able to release the corresponding soul skill. If you inject too much soul power, there are 2 possibilities. First, it will waste soul power. Second, it will increase the power of the soul skill. If you inject too little soul power, there are 2 possibilities. First, it will prevent the soul skill from being released. Second, the soul skill will be released, but its power will be reduced. Among the 4 possibilities, wasting soul power and preventing the soul skill from being released are completely useless. Only the other two possibilities are beneficial to the Soul Master. This explanation of the principle. Wonderful. Master's eyes lit up, and he was greatly surprised. With just these few words, he could be sure that Lin Feng was much stronger than him in terms of soul skill research. The two of them were not on the same level at all. This was simply crushing on the level of thinking. Chapter 118. It was normal for Lin Feng to have such an understanding. He had seen too many things, such as games, novels, animations, and so on. He could easily find similar things. After some casual experimentation, he would be able to discover the principles behind soul skills. As for Master, although he had done some research, he was limited by this world's thinking. The things he could see were too little. At this moment, Lin Feng continued. After studying it for a few years, I realized that as long as your control over your soul power reaches a certain level, you can easily use soul skills that are stronger or weaker than your soul skills. Take Mu Bai's White Tiger's Fierce Light Wave as an example. If your soul skill strength is 10, the soul power it consumes is also 10. If you use 20 soul power at once, the soul skill strength might reach 20. If you only use 5 soul power, the soul skill strength might only be 5. Of course, this is just an example. Whether it's true or not, you have to try it out yourself. And the most important thing is your control of soul power. If your control of soul power is not strong enough, even if you know all this, you won't be able to use it. As for why Xiao Wu can use her third soul skill so many times, it's because she doesn't teleport too far each time and consumes very little soul power. If you practice diligently, you can also be like Xiao Wu. Lin Feng's words could be summed up in one thing. Soul skills could be controlled by humans. As long as one controlled them well, using them continuously was not a dream. In fact, Lin Feng had many things he didn't say. He had researched soul skills for so many years, and the results were not limited to this. For example, throwing out several soul skills at once, fusing them together, and even martial soul fusion skills, he was still researching them. The reason why he didn't teach them these wasn't because Lin Feng was stingy, but because it was too difficult. Even if he told them, they wouldn't be able to make sense of it. Fengge, how do we learn this? Zhu Zhuqing immediately asked. Sometimes, taking the initiative would lead to a good result. Hearing this, Lin Feng smiled. It's very simple. First, you have to learn how to control your soul power. Then, you have to carefully sense your martial soul and soul rings. After that, after many experiments and practice, you'll be able to reach Xiao Wu's level. Seeing that everyone was eager to give it a try, Lin Feng continued. You can try these things when you have time in the future. If you have any questions, you can ask Xiao San, Xiao Wu, or me. But right now it's still class time, so don't get distracted. Master Lin, who was standing at the side, fell into deep thought after hearing Lin Feng's words. Lin Feng spoke too well, and many things gave him inspiration. At this moment, his mind was frantically verifying the feasibility of these words. Now that Lin Feng called his name, the master came back to his senses. He was still in class. After coughing twice, the Grand Master said, Lin Feng's words are too good. Even I can't compare to your understanding of soul skills. Master, you're too polite. I just have a few humble opinions after fighting so many times. Lin Feng was still relatively modest. After sighing, the master continued, I'll teach you about soul skills later. Now, let's continue with the class. After the battle, just now, I have a clear understanding of your strength. Shrek Academy is called the Monster Academy, and you guys are called the Monster Academy. But unfortunately, from the few battles just now, I found that except for Zhu Zhuqing, Xiao San, and Xiao Wu, the others were a mess. This is the monster? Other than your martial soul and soul power, what's the difference between you and the soul masters of other academies? I heard that you taught the students of Tsanghui Academy a lesson. Think about it carefully. If they had the same martial soul and rank as you, do you think you could still win? Hearing these words, everyone lowered their heads. The excitement and joy just now were swept away. Even Tang San and the others who were singled out didn't have the slightest joy. The master was right. Their performance was very poor. In the Great Soul Arena, Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Lin Feng, which one of them didn't defeat their opponents easily? And what about them? Winning or losing still depended on luck. If they met a weak chicken, they would win. If they met an experienced soul master, they would be arranged clearly. Originally, you guys should have been punished. At the gate of the academy, I prepared a basket of stones for each of you. There are 7 of you, and each of you has to carry a basket. Then, without using soul power, you have to run from the school gate to Soto City, and then run back. A total of 10 rounds. When you finish running, you can eat. You are a team, so everyone should be punished together. Even if Xiao Wu and the other 2 perform very well, they still have to be punished. If one of you doesn't finish during this period, then everyone will have no food to eat. At this moment, the master changed the topic, glanced at Lin Feng, and said lightly, "However, today is the first day. I will give you a chance. The 7 of you go together. As long as you can last for an incense stick's time under Lin Feng's hands, you can be exempted from this punishment. During the battle, Lin Feng can't use any soul skills, just rely on his physical fitness." The master knew how strong Lin Feng was. That mutated martial soul was so mutated that it was out of this world. On the surface, it was an auxiliary-type martial soul, but in fact, it was a comprehensive martial soul. There was no order at all. When obtaining soul rings, there was no need to consider the incompatibility of soul rings at all. Any type of soul ring could be absorbed. 3 soul skills, except for the first one that was related to healing, the second one was a control type, and the third one was completely an assault type. With such strength, if Lin Feng was allowed to use soul skills, Xiao San and the others would probably be beaten down in a few seconds, let alone an incense stick's time. Lin Feng wasn't surprised by this arrangement. He had already guessed it before. Tang San and the others didn't feel that this was unfair. Lin Feng was too strong. Even if he didn't use any soul skills, they still felt that Lin Feng was very strong. Meng Aran was almost scared silly by that punch in the Star Do Great Forest. With such strength, it wasn't easy for them to last for an incense stick's time. I'll give you 3 minutes. You guys can properly discuss the strategy. I won't use any soul skills, and I won't hold back. If you guys are careless later, you'll be defeated by me one by one. With that, Lin Feng waved his hand, and the immeasurable flower emitted a wave of life tide. The 7 people's soul power and physical strength were completely recovered in a few breaths. Tang San and the others. Even if there were 4 soul elders, Lin Feng didn't panic at all. With his strength, the first round was enough to deal with them. Chapter 119. 3 minutes later, the 7 of them had finished discussing their tactics. Lin Feng also came to the center of the field. Unknowingly, the Grand Master had also taken out an incense stick. I've set a big future goal for all of you. The goal is very simple. The 7 of you have to use all your means to defeat Lin Feng at full strength. I'm sure all of you know how strong Lin Feng is. Therefore, this goal can be said to be your ultimate goal. I hope you can achieve it before graduation. Lin Feng cursed inwardly. Achieve it before graduation? I don't think you can achieve it in your lifetime. At this moment, the Grand Master said, "Now that you're ready, let's begin." With that, the Grand Master lit the incense stick in his hand and stuck it into the ground. "Fengge, be careful. We won't hold back," Xiao Wu said fiercely. "Fengge, you're not allowed to use your soul skills, especially that trapping one. Even Teacher Zhao was trapped by you. You mustn't use it," Oscar also said loudly. At the same time, Zhao Wuji, who was secretly watching from the corner of the field, clenched his fists. Xiao Ao was really itching for a beating. He actually dared to mention this matter. He would find a chance to make up for it later. At the side, Flanders chuckled. "How did you feel at that time?" "Ha ha. Fengge, don't hit me later. I'm only an auxiliary-type soul master. I'm not a threat. If you want to hit Oscar." Ning Rongrong also said. After the 3 of them finished speaking, Ma Hongjun continued to shout, "Fengge." Just as he spoke, Lin Feng stretched out his hand. "Stop. You can't stall for time like this. Just stall for time. And I'll tell you this. An incense stick's time is very long. Even if I let you stall for half an incense stick's time, it'll still be empty." The few of them, one after another, talk to him. Now that the incense stick had been lit, wasn't it obvious that they were stalling for time? Lin Feng saw through it at a glance. I was discovered by Feng Ge, Xiao Wu muttered. Talking to Lin Feng was part of his strategy. He wanted to delay as much as possible, and Xiao Wu's words were like a signal. Everyone instantly entered a state of combat readiness. Those who were possessed by their martial spirits immediately activated their moves. Oscar, on the other hand, took the opportunity to secretly make sausages. Lin Feng smiled. With a flip of his hand, a large steamed bun appeared in his hand. Then he tore it in half. Then, Lin Feng threw the two halves of the steamed bun straight ahead. At the same time, the 7 treasures glazed pagoda in Ning Rongrong's hand shone brightly. Out of the 7 treasures, there is colored glass. The first of the 7 treasures is... Ah! On the side, Oscar also shouted, I have a mushroom. Ah! Before everyone could attack, the 2 support-type soul masters suddenly let out strange cries, causing everyone to look back. They saw that their mouths had been stuffed with half a steam bun at some point in time. The steam bun was very big and was stuffed full. The 2 of them could only cry out and couldn't even say half a word, let alone recite a soul chant. Zhao Wuji rubbed his chin as he commented from the corner of the room. This phone brat is pretty smart. He managed to restrain the 2 support-type soul masters in the first moment, but he's treating them to steamed buns. Isn't that a bit too enthusiastic? Flanders's eyes flashed. What accurate technique, what precise control of strength. It's amazing. It wasn't difficult to throw a steamed bun at the 2 of them, and it wasn't difficult to accurately throw it into their mouths. But it was very difficult to throw into their mouths without hurting them. It was because of this that Flanders felt that Lin Feng's control of strength was very strong. Grandmaster also nodded inwardly. He had the same thoughts as Flanders. This kind of control of strength was simply unimaginable for a soul elder. Everyone was shocked. Just now, they saw Lin Feng throw the steamed bun forward. But at that moment, everyone was using martial soul possession or something. The light from the special effect was too strong, so they didn't see the steam bun at all. By the time they came back to their senses, the 2 of them had already been hit by the steamed bun. Once you've mastered your soul power, you won't need to use the soul curse anymore. Learn it well in the future. Lin Feng smiled faintly. Also, you're all still fighting right now. Getting distracted is a big mistake. After that, Lin Feng dashed towards Dai Mubai, who was the leader of the group. Ning Rongrong and Oscar still had to take out the steam bun. They wouldn't be able to use it for a short period of time, so Lin Feng wanted to get rid of their main tank, Dai Mubai. However, Tang San was worthy of being called an outstanding student who had studied with Lin Feng for many years. He had been rewarded with a few big red flowers by Lin Feng, so his reaction was extremely fast. At this moment, he immediately gave out orders. Fatty, you hold the line. Mubai block. Take Shi. Prepare to find an opportunity. Xiao Wu, you're the main attacker. After receiving orders, everyone went to their respective positions. The blue-silver grass in Tang San's hand was like a few giant pythons that coiled towards Lin Feng. Dai Mubai, who had already activated his White Tiger's Vajra transformation and White Tiger's shield, let out a low roar and punched towards Lin Feng. In response, Lin Feng didn't retreat, but instead moved forward and punched out. Bang! The 2 fists collided. Lin Feng didn't move an inch, but Dai Mubai's body was directly sent flying. Feng Ge, watch out! Taking advantage of this moment, Xiao Wu shouted loudly to attract Lin Feng's attention. She activated her charm. Lin Feng didn't move at all, and Xiao Wu obviously knew this. She directly teleported above Lin Feng's head, and at the same time, her legs fiercely clamped towards his neck. First soul skill, waist bow. Tang San also used a strand of blue-silver grass to catch Dai Mubai. At the same time, several strands of blue-silver grass coiled towards Lin Feng. The corners of Lin Feng's mouth curled up slightly, and he stretched out his left hand. He actually grabbed Xiao Wu's ankle. I'll let you teleport. Lin Feng suddenly flung forward. Xiao Wu's entire body was like a meteor hammer, smashing towards Tang San. Tang Sin didn't move at all. His blue-silver grass had already wrapped around Lin Feng's body. Zhu Zhuqing, who had been looking for an opportunity, also arrived behind Lin Feng. He suddenly jumped up, his sharp claws emitting a cold light towards the back of Lin Feng's head. At the same time, Dai Mubai also attacked Lin Feng. What was even more inconceivable was that Xiao Wu actually teleported continuously in midair. Her original momentum of flying backwards instantly changed, and she appeared beside Lin Feng. Xiao Wu actually wanted to teleport above Lin Feng's head, but Zhu Zhuqing was attacking there, so she could only attack from the side. Ma Hongjun couldn't find a suitable opportunity to attack, so he just stood there, feeling very uncomfortable. The four people's joint attack was the strongest attack their team could muster. If this still couldn't defeat Lin Feng, they could only change tactics, and that was to escape with all their strength. The field was so big, and the seven of them had to run separately. They had to delay Lin Feng for as long as they could. Chapter 120. Surrounded by four people, Feng Brat can't even use his soul power. If he gets hit by Xiao San's poisonous blue-silver grass, he might be able to last for an incense stick's worth of time. Zhao Wuji never thought that Tang San's group of seven could defeat Lin Feng, mainly because he was too strong. Star Do Great Forest Punch on Meng Yiran not only shocked Tang San's group, but even Zhao Wuji was shocked. I don't think Lin Feng used his full strength at all. Flinder's eyes were more experienced. He realized that Lin Feng didn't panic at all from beginning to end. Everything was done with ease, so he knew that the outcome of this battle was already decided. At the same time, Lin Feng was surrounded by four people, but he didn't panic at all. He even had a relaxed smile on his face. Interesting. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng suddenly grabbed the air with both hands. Xiao Wu, who had just teleported over and didn't have time to attack, was dumbfounded. Who am I? Where am I? Oh, I'm in Feng Ji's hands. Just as this thought popped up in her mind, Xiao Wu was lifted up by Lin Feng and placed horizontally in front of him. Seeing this, Tang San's blue-silver grass hurriedly circled around and had no choice but to continue attacking from the side. Because of this pause, Lin Feng was able to easily dodge his control. However, at this time, Zhu Zhuqing's attack was already close to Lin Feng, as if it would hit him in the next second. However, Lin Feng let go of Xiao Wu and suddenly jumped. While dodging the blue-silver grass, he rushed towards Zhu Zhuqing. For a moment, face to face, eyes to eyes, Lin Feng and Zhu Zhuqing were infinitely close to each other. Looking down from that slender neck, there were two, anyway. That majestic view made Lin Feng slightly stunned. However, his battle instincts, which had been honed through countless battles, were not so easily lost. The moment Zhu Zhuqing's attack came close, Lin Feng immediately blocked and countered with a punch. Duong. Zhu Zhuqing's reaction was also very fast. Lin Feng's punch only hit her small arm, but the strength of this punch was extremely strong. In an instant, she was sent flying to the ground. However, Tang San was an expert at putting out fires. Wherever someone fell, there would be his blue-silver grass. Just as Zhu Zhuqing was about to hit the ground, Tang San pulled him back with his blue-silver grass, preventing him from taking a second hit. Dai Mubai still wanted to attack, but Tang San stopped him. Everyone come back quickly. Rong Rong quickly buffed everyone and then followed me. Plan B is now in motion. Oscar, quickly make mushroom sausages. At this time, the two had already spat out the steam buns in their mouths. Although their throats were a little uncomfortable, they could already chant the soul incantation. At this point, the four people's joint attack had been easily broken by Lin Feng, and Tang San and the others were preparing to split up and stall for time. Seeing this scene, the Grandmaster nodded inwardly. Xiao San is still smart. He knows that it's impossible to win, so there's still a chance to stall for time. To the side, Zhao Wuji clicked his tongue. Feng Brat didn't use any soul power or soul skills. Facing four people, if it were me, I would have to use 1 or 2 soul skills to take a beating. And he's only a soul elder. TSK. Flanders also sighed. A sole elder with such strength, he's probably the only one in the entire continent. At the scene, under Tang San's call, everyone converged in that direction. Lin Feng seemed to be giving them a chance. He didn't immediately chase after them, but calmly walked towards them. Now, only a third of the incense stick had burned. There was still a long time, so he wasn't anxious at all. In this group, the only one that made Lin Feng feel a little pressure was Oscar. Of course, it wasn't because Oscar was strong, but because of his mushroom sausage. If Tang San ate it and flew into the sky, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to throw anything at him. Tang San wasn't a fool like Ma Hongjun, so he would definitely be very vigilant. Not only would he move at high speed, he would also use his blue silver grass to form a shield to block. At that time, Tang San would have a few mushroom sausages in his hand, and when the time came, he would eat one. Wouldn't it be simple to waste an incense stick's worth of time? Therefore, Lin Feng was still very vigilant against Oscar's mushroom sausage. At this moment, seeing that Oscar had made 2 sausages in a row, Lin Feng decided not to wait any longer. You guys don't have to eat this sausage. Let me eat it. With a low laugh, Lin Feng rushed straight towards Oscar. Tang San realized Lin Feng's purpose and hurriedly shouted, "Stop him!" At the same time, Tang San's blue-silver grass wrapped around Oscar and ran to the back. However, Lin Feng's speed was too fast. No one could stop him if he wanted to chase. In an instant, he was behind Tang San. With a grab, Lin Feng caught all the blue-silver grass controlled by Tang San. The poison made Lin Feng's palm numb, but it wasn't a big deal. Phoenix Fireline. At this moment, Ma Hongjun, who had been waiting for a long time, spat out a fire line towards Lin Feng. This speed is too slow. Lin Feng easily dodged the flames, then passed by Tang San and grabbed Oscar. The latter held 2 mushroom sausages in his hand and said with a miserable face, "Feng Gu, you should eat them. They're fresh, just made." "I'm not eating." Lin Feng chuckled and knocked Oscar unconscious with a knife in his hand. In the distance, Flanders saw this scene and shook his head. "I originally thought that they could rely on little Ao's mushroom sausages to stall for time, but now there's no chance at all." Zhao Wuji also nodded. "Yes, this Feng brat is too strong. Once little Ao lost the ability to make mushroom sausages, the rest of them will just be defeated one by one." In fact, during the battle, just now, Lin Feng was basically holding back. Except for slightly injuring Zhu Zhuqing with a punch, the others didn't attack much. Now that there wasn't much time left, it was time to end the battle. "Everyone, run quickly. Stall for time." Tang San was very clear about what they should do now. They could only stall for time by running. However, in the face of absolute strength, no matter how correct their actions were, the final result couldn't be changed. Lin Feng easily caught up with them one by one, and then lifted them up as if they were little chicks. In the end, when there was only 1/3 of the time left, Lin Feng caught everyone to the center of the field. Oscar was also awakened by Lin Feng. At this time, the master came over and said lightly, "You lost, but you didn't lose unjustly." Although Lin Feng's battle just now didn't reach the level of perfection, it was enough to be called a classic. You can think about it later. Well, since the challenge didn't succeed, you can go to the punishment at the gate together. After that, the master glanced at Lin Feng. You can also go with them. However, you belong to this group, but you're independent. The main reason for letting you go is to supervise. I've also prepared a stone for you, but it's up to you whether you want to run or not. Lin Feng, you even prepared a stone for me. Do you think I'll lose? Chapter 121. The Grandmaster really thought that Lin Feng would lose. After all, he was only a soul elder. Without using any soul skills, he felt that Tang San and the rest could last for an incense stick's worth of time just by relying on their physical fitness. He didn't expect that the Grandmaster would know that he had underestimated Lin Feng the moment he made a move, not only in terms of strategy, but also in terms of personal strength. He had completely underestimated Lin Feng's strength. Now that he had been slapped in the face, the Grandmaster didn't feel embarrassed. He looked at the crowd, gradually walking towards the Academy's entrance, and smiled. Then, he turned and walked towards Flanders. At the entrance of Shrek Academy, There were a total of 8 bamboo baskets filled with stones of different weights. 7 of the bamboo baskets were about the same size, and the weight of the stones inside wasn't very different. The lighter ones were about 7 kilograms, and the heavier ones were 15 kilograms. Each bamboo basket had their own name written on it. Clearly, they were all specially assigned by the Grandmaster. The 8th bamboo basket on the far left looked one size bigger than the other baskets. There was no need to carry it at all. Just by looking at the surface, one could see that there were several large stones inside. When Lin Feng carried it, good heavens, it was at least 300 kilograms. The Grandmaster was really good. The weight of the other 7 people added together was only 1/3 of his. He really thought highly of him. However, this wasn't a problem for Lin Feng at all. Previously, when he was in Notting City, the weight of the weighted clothes he made himself was 500 kilograms, but he wore it as if it was nothing. Later on, because his physical fitness became stronger and stronger, those weights of a few hundred kilograms were completely useless. Lin Feng also didn't find that kind of particularly heavy material, so he didn't wear the weighted clothes after that. It doesn't seem very heavy. Xiao Wu tested the stones in the bamboo basket with an indifferent expression. The stones in Xiao Wu's bamboo basket weighed 13 kilograms. It wasn't as heavy as Tang San and Dai Mubai's 15 kilograms and Lin Feng's 300 kilograms, but it was still slightly heavier than the others. As a Beast Soul Master, Xiao Wu's physical strength was better than other Soul Masters. In addition to the training she had undergone over the past few years, 13 kilograms of weight was nothing to her. However, Xiao Wu had never run 10 rounds from the entrance of the academy to Soto City before. However, with his body's foundation, he probably wouldn't be too tired. Don't think that it's easy. If you carry a weight of more than 10 kilograms while running for a long time, it will be very difficult. Feng Ge once said that a person's physical strength has a critical value, said Tang San in a deep voice. Before the critical value, you will be able to do anything easily. Rest for a while, and you will be able to recover your strength quickly. And when your physical strength exceeds the critical value, your physical strength will be consumed rapidly when you do things, especially continuous exercise like running. In the end, not to mention 13 kilograms, even 1 kilogram will bring a great burden to you. Lin Feng had mentioned this point before, but that was a long time ago. It seemed like he had said it when he was training Tang San. He didn't expect him to still remember it. Actually, Tang San didn't say this for Xiao Wu to hear, but for the others. He and Xiao Wu had gone through so much training, and their physical fitness was much better than ordinary people. Although this weight was challenging for them, they still had a lot of confidence. It could be said that the master had not only underestimated Lin Feng, but also Xiao Wu and Xiao San. At this moment, everyone picked up their bamboo baskets. Ning Rongrong smiled casually. Mine is the lightest, only 7 kilograms. That's great. When the time comes and you guys can't run anymore, I can help you carry a little. Hearing this, Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Ning Rongrong, where did you get the confidence to say this? I hope you still have the courage to run until the end. You better take care of yourself. Lin Feng smiled. When the time comes and you can't carry on anymore, just throw your stones to Tang San or Mu Bai. They're both in good health. If it's Xiao Wu, you don't have to add anything for her. As he spoke, Lin Feng took out a 5-kilogram stone from his basket and threw it into Xiao Wu's basket. I'll add it for her. Xiao Wu raised her head and looked at Lin Feng. The smile on her face instantly turned into a bitter gourd. When she heard this, she was secretly happy and exclaimed that Feng Ge was so considerate of her. She didn't expect that in the next second, a stone would be thrown into her basket. What are you looking at? Do you want more? Lin Feng didn't add the weight randomly. He knew better than the master how strong Xiao Wu and Xiao San's bodies were. 13 kilograms was nothing to Xiao Wu. It would be a bit more challenging for her if he added 18 kilograms. Stupid Feng Ge, Xiao Wu snorted. She immediately hugged her bamboo basket tightly and swore to protect it with her life. She wouldn't let Lin Feng throw any more stones into her basket. While he was speechless, Lin Feng glanced at the others. Unexpectedly, other than Zhu Zhuqing, Tang San, and Dai Mu Bai, Everyone else subconsciously covered the opening of the bamboo basket like Xiao Wu. Lin Feng, shaking his head. Lin Feng continued, "The master knows that the weight of these bamboo baskets should be specially configured for you. You can definitely finish these 10 laps. Before you run, I'll tell you one thing. You're a team, a whole. What is the core spirit of a team? Tell me loudly." The 7 of them shouted in unison, "Don't give up! Don't give up!" "Very good. I hope that after 10 laps, I can see the 7 of you standing here neatly." Lin Feng laughed and said, "Originally, I didn't want to run with you, but today is the first time, so I'll still be by your side. The most important thing is to teach you how to control the soul power in your body while running. I hope that after these 10 laps, you can learn this. That's because controlling soul power is actually a different kind of training. When your mind is focused on soul power, running will even become a subconscious action. When that happens, you'll feel less tired, and the movement of soul power will also speed up the recovery of your physical strength. I'll tell you the details on the way. Let's start running now." With Lin Feng's command, the 7 of them immediately started running. In front of the 7 of them, Lin Feng was actually facing them and running backwards. Most importantly, the speed at which he was running backwards was even faster than the few of them who were running forward. Zhu Zhuqing also keenly discovered that the big bamboo basket on Lin Feng's back didn't even move the stones inside. His control of strength was simply terrifying. Fengge is indeed Fengge. He's really awesome, Zhu Zhuqing thought to himself. Very good. When the 7 of you run, your footsteps are uniform. This kind of overall rhythm will make it much easier for you. Okay, now I'll tell you how to control the soul power in your body. It's actually very simple. You just need to... Chapter 122. The control of soul power was really simple. It was like a thin layer of window paper. Once it was broken, one would be able to see through it very quickly. Ning Rongrong and the rest were doing the same. Lin Feng only explained for a few minutes before they started experimenting. Lin Feng only started to slowly correct the mistakes of these people. Back then, when Xiao San and Xiao Wu ran, it took Lin Feng a few days to correct them completely. At this time, other than the 2 of them, among the 5 people, other than Zhu Zhuqing's running posture, which was slightly more standard, the others were all crooked. There is a rhythm to running. Not only is the pace uniform, but also the breathing, arm swing, and so on. All of you should pay attention to your breathing and arm swing. Then, find the rhythm that suits you the most. There's also a standard running posture. Oscar, raise your arm. Don't grab the strap of your bamboo basket, and don't lower your head. Fatty, don't lower your head either. Also, what's the meaning of carrying your back? You can't hold on after the first lap? Straighten your body. Rong, I just found out that you're a little flat when you run. Straighten your feet for me. Mubai too. Straighten your back. Don't tiptoe when you run. The stones in your basket are about to jump up. Take Shi, you twist your waist less. Also, don't tiptoe. It's too fierce. The movement was a little too big. Lin Feng was a little dizzy from the shaking. Then, he concluded, Xiao San and Xiao Wu's running posture is very correct. Rong and Take Shi, the 2 of you should learn from Xiao Wu. The rest of you should learn from Tang San. Correct your posture carefully. Just like that, after running half a lap, the few of them passed through Lin Feng's corrections and learned from Tang San and Xiao Wu. Their posture was barely passable. At this time, they found that after this round of correction, the physical strength consumed by running had significantly decreased compared to when they first started running. Lin Feng continued, "Everyone, don't relax. From now on, run and control the soul power in your body. Imagine that they are all naughty children. What you need to do now is to tame them. Also, you guys should run a little faster. You can't even outrun Xiaoying. Shame on you." At this time, Lin Feng pointed to Xiaoying, who was running with everyone. Just now, not long after Lin Feng and the others started running, Xiaoying caught up and jumped directly into Lin Feng's bamboo basket. Now he was running with them. "Xiao San, speed up. Everyone, keep up with Xiao San's speed." Just like that, he finished running back and forth very quickly. Everyone found that the master had already prepared warm, saline water at the entrance of the academy to replenish their water and energy. Looks like it's quite easy. The master saw that the few of them didn't look tired and muttered in his heart. Did he put too few stones? But that wasn't right. The weights were tailored according to their soul power rank and martial soul. There shouldn't be a mistake. Master Fengge is amazing. He taught us a lot of running methods and made it very easy for us. Oscar drank water and couldn't help but praise. Ning Rongrong also added, "Yes, Master. Fengge also taught us how to control the soul power in our bodies. This is a divine skill. Not only can it cultivate soul power, but it can also restore physical strength. It's killing two birds with one stone." So is Lin Feng. No wonder this kid could always come up with new tricks for him. After knowing the reason, the master smiled. Since that's the case, all of you can do it. On the second round trip, everyone still didn't feel tired and seemed very relaxed. Then came the third round trip, the fourth round trip. On the seventh round trip, except for Tang San and Dai Mubai, everyone was already very tired. However, they still continued to run forward. No one even asked to share the things in their bamboo baskets with others, especially Xiao Wu. Everyone thought that she would be the first to complain. After all, other than Lin Feng, she was carrying the most weight among everyone. But at this moment, she didn't say a word and continued running as usual. Even though her forehead was sweating nonstop, her gaze was still incomparably determined. On the eighth round trip, Ning Rongrong, who had the weakest physical strength, couldn't bear it anymore. She gritted her teeth and persevered, but Lin Feng saw clearly that if he didn't reduce the weight, she might be exhausted. It had to be said that this girl was really stubborn. For the sake of the bet, when she ran to the Stardow Gray Forest, she didn't stop until Lin Feng told her to rest. It was the same at this moment. Even though she was almost exhausted, she didn't say a word. However, Lin Feng spoke. "Xiao San, take out half of the stones in Rongrong's bamboo basket." Tang San didn't reply, but his movements were incomparably agile. He slowly approached Ning Rongrong, then reached out his hand and grabbed stone. He then threw it into his bamboo basket. Tang San didn't feel anything when he gained 3 to 4 kilograms of stones. Soon, he returned to his original running pace. Ning Rongrong, on the other hand, suddenly felt lighter. She only felt that her body was a lot more relaxed, as if there was a new force nourishing her body. Her speed increased a little. Then, Lin Feng's words slowly adjusted her speed. "Fengge, I can do it. I can hold on. You don't have to reduce it for me." Ning Rongrong gasped for breath, speaking with pauses. However, Lin Feng didn't interrupt her in the middle. Instead, he waited for her to finish speaking before saying, "I know that your mind can hold on, but your body can't. If you continue running, you'll be exhausted. A team is not a place to show off. Everyone has to have a clear understanding of themselves. If you do something beyond your ability, then the consequences will be borne by the team. Rongrong, have you thought about it? If you faint from exhaustion, what will happen to the others? They won't abandon you, so it's very likely that your stones will be carried by others, and your body will also be carried by others. If you add another 7 kilograms of stones to your body, or the 3 kilograms of stones now, which do you think is heavier?" With these short words, Ning Rongrong instantly understood what Lin Feng meant. She knew where she was wrong, but she didn't have much energy to say anything, so she could only remain silent. Just like that, after running for a while, Lin Feng realized that Zhu Zhuqing was about to die. He estimated that he would repeat the process and let Tang San take a stone from Zhu Zhuqing's bamboo basket. The latter didn't say a word and just ran silently. Then it was Oscar's turn, and Tang San's bamboo basket added another stone. As for Ma Hongjun, this guy could still hold on. On the 9th round trip, Ma Hongjun also couldn't hold on anymore. Lin Feng let Dai Mubai take a stone from his bamboo basket. Just like that, the group ran to the 10th round trip. Chapter 123. "Third brother, give the stones back to me. I can hold on for the last bit," Ning Rongrong said with determination. After drinking some salt water to replenish her energy and running half a lap with lighter weights, Ning Rongrong's energy had recovered a little. This was like a signal, and the others all said that they wanted to take their stones back. Tang Xin glanced at Lin Feng, as if asking if he could give them back. He knew that even if Fengge was playing with the cat while running, he would still know everyone's current situation. In fact, Lin Feng understood everyone's situation with just a glance. He nodded. Give them back. It's the last half of the lap. Everyone keep going. Hearing this, everyone took their stones back. At this moment, Lin Feng suddenly said, everyone start sprinting. Those who are in last place will wash the dishes for the others today. Many people were dumbfounded. However, the smart ones had already sped up when Lin Feng finished speaking. For example, Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhuqing. When the others saw this, they immediately gritted their teeth and followed. At this moment, they did not care about protesting to Lin Feng anymore. There was only one thought in their minds. I don't want to wash the dishes for others. Washing the dishes was not a big deal. It was just 10 or 20 plates. It would not take long to wash them. The most important thing was their reputation. To be honest, even if the 7 of them had different physical attributes, no one chose to admit defeat. No one was willing to be in last place, especially Ning Rongrong. She had done everything she could to get the last place. Xiao was still cursing at Lin Feng as she ran. Stupid Fengge. Stupid Fengge. You gave me so many stones, and I'm still sprinting. Go to your head. Although she said that, she was still the fastest. She took the lead. At this moment, the master, Flanders, and Zhao Wuji were standing at the gate of the academy. Aren't you a little too cruel? With so many stones, they would have to crawl back after 10 laps, right? Flanders looked at the master with some blame. Zhao Wuji added, do you think everyone is a monster like that foam brat? I reckon only that brat Mu Bai can hold on. As for the others, I don't think they'll be able to crawl back. The master looked at the 2 of them and said matter-of-factly, this is the effect I want. Flanders was speechless. Zhao Wuji was speechless. Ruthless. Ruthless indeed. The kind that had to cripple someone. In the past, when they were teaching, Flanders thought that he was already teaching hard enough. Now, it seemed that he was just a younger brother. Don't worry, I've calculated. These children should be able to complete 10 laps, as long as they learn to help each other. Even if they're exhausted in the end, the effect of improving their physical fitness has been achieved. I've also prepared a medicinal bath for them. When the time comes, throw them in the medicinal bath to further strengthen their bodies. The master said in a deep voice, when they arrive later, there's a high chance that they'll faint. When the time comes, be quick and throw them into the medicinal bath. Zhao Wuji nodded. I've already instructed. The cafeteria Annie will take Xiao Wu and the other girls. I'll take care of the others. Flanders frowned slightly and hurriedly said, I'll say this first. The academy doesn't have much money left. This medicinal bath is expensive. Don't come to this kind of place in the future. The master curled his lips. I'll think of a way to get the money. Prepare everything for me. Flanders wanted to say something, but Zhao Wuji pointed into the distance and shouted, They're here. I see them. But why do they look so excited? Are they sprinting? They actually still have the strength to sprint. Flanders' gaze became sharper and clearer. His mouth was like an announcer as he spoke quickly. Tang San is running at the front. The second is actually Xiao Wu. The third is Mu Bai. The fourth is Zhu Zhuqing. The fifth is Ma Hongjun. The sixth is Xiao Ao. And the seventh is Ning Rongrong. Lin Feng is the last. It's unbelievable. They actually still have the strength to sprint. Master, your estimation is inaccurate. Flanders ridiculed. To be honest, due to the master's strength, he could only see a few blurry figures in the distance. He couldn't tell if they were jogging or sprinting. However, judging from the shocked expressions on Flanders and Zhao Wuji's faces, it was obvious that they were telling the truth. But sprint? Seriously? For a moment, the master doubted whether his theory was correct. He had thought about it carefully. If they ran 10 laps with the stones on their backs, it should be just enough to exhaust their stamina. Even if there was a deviation and they didn't exhaust their stamina, there shouldn't be much left. But now they were sprinting. There was still more than 1,000 meters to go. Sprinting after 10 laps? It was truly shocking. Seeing these people running closer and closer, and even faster, the 3 of them felt nothing but shock in their hearts. When they were 100 meters away, the master could see the clear sweat on Tang San's forehead. Behind him, Dai Mubai suddenly exerted his strength and overtook Xiao Wu to become the second. There was even a hint of joy on his face. Xiao Wu, who was in third place, was shouting, "I don't need to wash the dishes, I don't need to wash the dishes." The three of them were confused. She didn't need to wash the dishes? What was going on? Looking behind, the fourth place, Zhu Zhuqing, was sprinting with all his might without saying a word. Behind them, Oscar and Ma Hongjun were running side by side, their speeds comparable. At the back, Ning Rongrong was trying her best to catch up. She wasn't far from Oscar, but Lin Feng, who was running beside her, could see that Ning Rongrong was definitely going to win this bowl. At this time, Ning Rongrong was already exhausted. Sprinting was too much for her. The only reason she could still run was because of her willpower. She wanted to scold Lin Feng, but she didn't have the strength to do so. Running to the finish line was the only thought in her mind. Just like that, the last 100 meters were covered one by one. Thump, thump, thump. One by one, they were so tired that they sat on the ground, gasping for breath. Especially Ning Rongrong, who was the weakest. She lay on the ground, gasping for breath. Miraculously, she didn't faint. "Your excellence is completely beyond my imagination." The master was excited. He didn't expect them to perform so well. However, the master also knew that now wasn't the time to talk or be curious. "Quick, Flanders, Zhao Wuji, carry them to the medicinal bath." Flanders nodded. He and Zhao Wuji carried one person in each hand and walked towards the school. Although Tang, since still had a lot of strength and could walk on his own, he didn't try to show off. It was more comfortable to be carried without any effort. As for the three girls, they were carried by a few cafeteria aunties and slowly walked inside. Seeing this, Lin Feng didn't use the immeasurable flour to help them recover. This kind of exhaustion and self-recovery was the best way to strengthen their bodies. Especially under the effect of the medicinal bath, when they recovered, their physical fitness would definitely become stronger. After they left, the master asked, "Lin Feng, what do you mean by not washing the dishes? Is it a special running technique?" "No," Lin Feng said with a slightly strange expression. "It's in the last half of the lap. I told them to sprint, and the last one will wash the dishes today." The master was speechless. Chapter 124. The medicinal bath was very comfortable, and the seven of them fell asleep unknowingly. In the evening, everyone woke up one after another. Zhu Zhuqing carefully sensed the soul power in her body and was very surprised. Unknowingly, her soul power had broken through one level and reached rank 28. Although she was not far from rank 28, the main reason why she could advance in these few days was because of this weight-bearing run and Feng Ji's unique soul power control method. This method could be called a divine skill. Not only could it increase the control of soul power, but could also increase the cultivation speed of soul power. Zhu Zhuqing carefully sensed it and found that the effect was very strong. In a year, she could increase her soul power by more than half a level. In a few years, it was not difficult to lead by 4 or 5 levels. No wonder Xiao Wu and Tang San could reach rank 30 so quickly. So this was the reason. The most important thing was that this soul power control method could be used at any time, even when walking, eating, attending classes, and so on. As long as you use your heart to control it, it would be effective. Fenggu even told them that this cultivation method could be cultivated into a habit, and then they would cultivate all the time. Zhu Zhuqing was not the only one who realized this. The others also realized it. At night, in the cafeteria, everyone gathered together and ate a sumptuous dinner personally prepared by the master. Everyone was very happy, but Ning Rongrong had a bitter expression. With so many dishes, it meant that there were a lot of plates. She felt uncomfortable just thinking about washing them alone. But soon, she had an idea. "Fenggu, I don't think I should wash these plates. When we were running, I wasn't last." Everyone was puzzled. "You were clearly last." "It's Fenggu." Ning Rongrong's eyes were full of slyness. Fenggu said it himself that everyone was sprinting, and the last person to wash the plates would definitely be himself. And when we were sprinting, he ran behind me, so he was last. Today he will wash the plates. Everyone, although it was a bit of sophistry, what Ning Rongrong said really made sense. Did I say everyone back then? Lin Feng couldn't quite remember. But now that Ning Rongrong had said this, she must have said it. This was a loophole in her words, the kind that everyone would overlook. Okay, I'll wash it today. Anyway, you'll have a lot of chances to wash dishes in the future. I'll give you a start. Lin Feng didn't say anything and directly agreed. This caused everyone to laugh heartily. Just as he laughed, Flanders and Zhao Wuji walked in. They were very curious as to why everyone was able to run for so long and even sprint at the end. Now, they were here to find the answer. What's the matter? Why are you all laughing so happily? Zhao Wuji asked as he sat down with a plate. Oscar hurriedly explained, causing everyone to laugh again. After chatting for a while, the master and the others brought the topic to running. It's the soul power control that Feng Gu taught us. Ning Rongrong was unusually active today. Train your soul power control while running. Not only can it recover your physical strength, but it can also increase your soul power. Although it's not as good as normal meditation, the effect is almost 1/3. Meditation is equivalent to 1/3 of the effect. This is incredible. Zhao Wuji's mouth was wide open, and he couldn't close it. Feng Gu said that if you get familiar with it, it will become an instinct. It's equivalent to meditating all the time, and it can greatly increase your cultivation speed. What? Meditating all the time? Hearing this, Flanders and the master couldn't calm down. This kind of thing could be said to be epic-making. They had never heard of it before, and this effect was simply terrifying. Meditating all the time, and the effect was equivalent to 1/3 of normal meditation. Although 1/3 was not a lot, if Flanders had learned this divine skill from a young age, he would be at least a soul Douluo by now, let alone a title Douluo. Moreover, he would be a soul Douluo of a relatively high rank. If this method was popularized throughout the continent, Lin Feng would be recorded in history. As if he had seen through their thoughts, Lin Feng said, "This method is not so easy to learn. The reason why they learn it so quickly is because I taught them personally and also because they are very smart. And they only learned it roughly in 1 day. If they want to achieve the best effect, they have to practice for several months. Xiao San and Xiao Wu took about 2 months to completely master it. If it were an ordinary person, it would probably take several years. It is not universal." Hearing this, Oscar nodded. Feng Gu is right. I can't subconsciously control my soul power at the moment. I have to put my heart and soul into it. If I want to achieve the ideal effect, it will take some time. What a genius idea. Only a genius can learn it. The master sighed. Lin Feng, who can think of this method, is a genius among geniuses. This kind of technique, even if it has the flaw that ordinary people can't learn it quickly, is enough to be recorded in history. Lin Feng is willing to teach you for free. That is selfless of him, and at the same time, it is your luck. Hearing the master's words, everyone came back to their senses. This was a technique that Feng Gu discovered alone. At this time, he was teaching them for free. Feng Gu was too great. Lin Feng, if you encounter any problems in the future, call me. I will definitely be the first to rush. Dai Mu Bai was the first to express his attitude. Although his promise was nothing to Lin Feng, Dai Mu Bai took it very seriously. Me too, me too. Feng Gu, if you need anything, just call me. Ma Hongjun continued. He didn't think too much, but he knew in his heart that he had completely recognized Feng Gu as his boss. Feng Gu, if you want to eat grilled sausages in the future, I will make them for you at any time. Oscar's face was smiling like a flower. After thinking for a long time, he could only think of this sentence. A food-type soul master didn't have much fighting strength, so he could only give this kind of promise. Me too. Zhu Zhuqing wasn't good at expressing himself, so he only said these 4 words. However, her eyes were fixed on Lin Feng, shining with a strange light. Xiao San and Xiao Wu didn't need to say anything. Lin Feng directly looked at Ning Rongrong. Why are they all so fancy? Is there anything that can be realized right now? Ning Rongrong was stunned. After pausing for a moment, She squeezed out a few words. Fungo, why don't I wash this bowl? Ha. Everyone was amused at once, and they all burst out laughing. Chapter 125. After joking around, the Grandmaster said solemnly, "The technique that Lin Feng is teaching you might not be able to see anything in a short period of time, but after 5 or 10 years, the effects will be very obvious. Everyone knows that soul masters before the age of 20 cultivate the fastest. Some geniuses can even become soul kings by the age of 20. Soul king. Other than Lin Feng, everyone else was stunned. Even Ning Rongrong, who came from the Seven Treasures Glaze sect, was very surprised. A 20-year-old soul king, they found it hard to imagine. Was there really such a genius soul master? One had to know that the graduation requirement for a monster like Shrek Academy was to become a soul ancestor before the age of 20. In everyone's opinion, even if they graduated, they should be around 17 years old. It would be very impressive if they could cultivate 5 more ranks in 3 years. It was simply impossible for him to become a soul king before the age of 20. The Grandmaster saw everyone's shock, but he also noticed Lin Feng's indifference. At first, the Grandmaster was surprised by Lin Feng's indifference, but when he thought about how he could defeat a soul king with one punch, he immediately calmed down. Monster Soul Master times Invincible Soul Master square root. After that, the Grandmaster continued, "Don't think that it's impossible. The geniuses on the continent are beyond your imagination. Although there are very few soul kings before the age of 20, there are still some. Originally, I thought that other than Oscar, the rest of you would become a soul king before the age of 20. But now, after Lin Feng taught you this technique, I can more or less confirm that each of you has a very high chance of becoming a soul king. Even Oscar is no exception. The reason why Oscar was singled out was because he was already 14 years old and had just become a soul elder. In addition, he cultivated very slowly as a food-type soul master, so the Grandmaster singled him out. Hearing this, everyone was a little excited. A soul king before the age of 20. The Grandmaster said that it was possible. With his understanding of soul masters, it meant that the probability was very high. Before they could get over their excitement, the master's next words made them even more excited. A 20-year-old soul king is already considered a top genius on the continent. That's not all. If you're hardworking enough, you can even become a titled Douluo before the age of 50. What? His title is Douluo? Everyone was shocked by this title. That was Douluo they were talking about. Everyone knew what that meant. Even though it was just a prediction, they couldn't help but feel excited. Some people were even imagining what their future titles would be. Master, a 50-year-old titled battle pet warrior. Are you sure? Zhao Wuji's mouth was dry. They knew what this meant. Tang San's father, Tang Hao, was known as the youngest and most talented titled battle pet warrior in history. When he became a titled battle pet warrior, he was 44 years old. Other than that, there didn't seem to be any other titled Douluo who could become a titled Douluo before the age of 50. Even the strongest sword Douluo of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, Chun Exun, only became a titled Douluo at the age of 52. From this, it could be seen how shocking the Grandmaster's evaluation was. In fact, the Grandmaster guessed that Pope Bibi Dong might be even more talented than Tang Hao, but she hit it so well that no one on the continent knew of her cultivation. Even the Grandmaster wasn't sure. I'm just giving an estimate. If they work hard enough, they still have a chance to succeed. If they don't, they won't be that strong, no matter how talented they are. So, in the future, don't be complacent. You have to be stricter with yourselves. Do you hear me? Yes, Master. Everyone was excited. Also, the skill that Lin Feng taught you is of great importance. Don't spread it before you become strong enough. The Grandmaster reminded them. Just like that, everyone finished their dinner in a slightly excited mood. There were no other activities. Lin Feng went back to his dormitory. He fed Xiao Ying some life force and then started to cultivate. He was about to reach the 70th rank. He had to cultivate with all his might for a while. It had been a long time since Lin Feng had experienced the feeling of breaking through his own cultivation. Most importantly, he could also gain a large amount of experience points. It was very comfortable. A week passed in the blink of an eye. Early in the morning, the sky was still dark. Inside Lin Feng's dorm room, there was a faint wave of soul force as he finally broke through to rank 70. Ding! After a period of meditation, the host's soul power has reached the 70th rank. His strength has greatly increased. Experience points plus 946,254. Lin Feng had expected an increase of nearly 1,000,000 experience points. However, the 1,000 trickster ruler seemed to have undergone an inexplicable change. The change was very strange. It was as if it had a life of its own. Perhaps it was because the immeasurable flower hadn't obtained its 7th soul ring yet, but the strange feeling wasn't very obvious. Lin Feng played with it for a while and then ignored it. Lin Feng looked at his character panel. Name: Lin Feng, Martial Soul, 1,000 Trickster Ruler, Immeasurable Flower Soul Power. Rank 70,000 Trickster Ruler Soul Ring. None Immeasurable Flower Soul Ring. Snow Lotus, 999 years. Plus, Soul Skill. Life Bloom Ghost Head Stalking Spider, 10,000 years. Plus, Soul Skill. Shadow Bind Armored Bear, 10,000 years. Plus, Soul Skill. Armored Devil Bear Transformation Fireweaver Monkey, 14,154 years. Plus, Soul Skill. Raging Flame Wreath Nether Civet, 34,952 years. Plus, Soul Skill. Nether Force Lightning Falcon, 38,461 years. Plus, Soul Skill. Lightning Wings Experience Points, 11524733. There wasn't much to pay attention to when obtaining the 7th soul ring. No matter what kind of soul beast was killed, the soul skill it gave was the same. It was called Martial Soul True Body. The only requirement was the age of the soul ring. For the 7th soul ring, the older the better. It would be best if it was a 100,000-year soul ring. After all, Lin Feng's current body could withstand a 100,000-year soul ring. However, this idea wasn't very realistic. Lin Feng knew that a 100,000-year soul beast strength was equivalent to a rank 95 titled soul master, Douluo. Lin Feng could contend against it for a short period of time, but he could forget about killing it. Therefore, Lin Feng's goal was to obtain a 90,000-year soul ring. This way, he could save a lot of experience points when he leveled up. He didn't plan to go to the Star Do Great Forest, but to the Setting Sun Forest. Lin Feng was familiar with that place. When he was there, he often hunted soul beasts to gain experience, so he knew a few soul beasts. Ahem, the no here meant that he had beaten the other party into submission. With this reason, it would be easier to find high-ranked soul beasts when the time came. After all, he had a native beast to guide him. Chapter 126. During this week, the master gave the 7 of them the so-called devil training. This training was nothing more than constant battles, 1 against 1, 2 against 2. In any case, they crazily tempered their combat experience. Other than that, there was also some physical training and weight-bearing running. That's right, weight-bearing running directly changed from a punishment to a training program, and no one complained at all. They were especially excited. It had to be said that the master was still good at tricking people. That big pie with the title Douluo made everyone look as if they had been injected with chicken blood, and their enthusiasm for training was extremely high. Lin Feng, on the other hand, was very free. He didn't train with them at all. At most, he would watch them meditate at the side, fully exercising his supervision duties as half a teacher. The master didn't say anything. Ever since Lin Feng easily ran 10 rounds with a 300-kilogram rock, he knew that with Lin Feng's strength, it was as if he didn't train him at all, so he simply didn't care. Of course, Lin Feng didn't really do nothing. Sometimes, when he felt that cultivation was boring, he still came down to teach them things. Also yesterday afternoon, the master said that after a week of training, he wanted them to challenge Lin Feng again to see the results of the training. The rules were the same. Lin Feng didn't use any soul power or soul skills, and everyone lasted for an incense stick's worth of time. Regarding this, Lin Feng gave them face. Although they were all beaten black and blue in the end, everyone lasted a few seconds longer than last time. Today, after Lin Feng broke through to rank 70, he didn't leave without saying goodbye. Instead, He said during breakfast in the cafeteria that he had something to do and would be back in a week at most. Regarding this, no one had any special reaction. They thought that he was just going out to deal with some personal matters. They would never have thought that Lin Feng had broken through to rank 70 and was going out to obtain his 7th soul ring. When everyone was training in the morning, Lin Feng left the Shrek Academy. After walking for a distance, Lin Feng suddenly spread out the lightning wings on his back in a deserted place. The power of the netherworld supported him. In the next second, he flew into the clouds like a giant rock, turning into a bolt of lightning and flying toward the north. Soto City was very far from the Sunset Forest, but with Lin Feng's speed, it only took them 3 hours to arrive. Actually, Lin Feng could have been a bit faster, but he was still carrying Xiaoying, so he had to use his soul force to envelop him while flying, which slightly slowed down their speed. Lin Feng landed on the outskirts of the setting sun forest. Xiaoying fell from his arms and instantly transformed into a 5-meter-long black panther. Lin Feng leaped lightly and sat on its back. "Charge!" Xiaoying shouted like a Chinibyu as he ran inside. Along the way, Lin Feng focused on sensing his surroundings. He avoided soul masters and soul beasts as he flew deeper into the forest. In the central region of the setting sun forest, there were 50,000-year soul beasts, and they were extremely scattered. Lin Feng didn't stop here at all and continued to walk deeper into the forest. At the same time, in the western region of the setting sun forest, there was a huge poison array. In the center of the poison array was a beautiful valley, and Poison Douluo was in this valley concocting a new type of poison. At the same time, the poison in his body was getting more and more serious, and he came here to use those mystical herbs to suppress the poison in his body. In the southern part of the setting sun forest, this was the place Lin Feng used to frequent. There were a few 40,000-year soul beasts nearby that Lin Feng knew. Along the way, even though Xiaoying was only a 7,000-year soul beast, he didn't panic at all with Lin Feng around. When he walked past other 10,000-year soul beasts, they didn't even dare to make sound. All in all, Xiaoying could be said to have shown off his might this time. After spending half an hour, Lin Feng gathered a few soul beasts that he knew. 10,000-year soul beasts already had intelligence, and these 40,000-year soul beasts could communicate with them normally. At this moment, Lin Feng directly said, "Do any of you have any powerful enemies?" Powerful ones, like those 80 to 90,000-year soul beasts. The soul beasts looked at each other and shook their heads. "Then do you know where I can find 80 to 90,000-year soul beasts? If anyone can provide me with any clues, I'll feed them this." With that, Lin Feng opened his hand, and a rich life energy appeared in his hand. The fragrance made the soul beasts salivate. Lin Feng had long since discovered that this life energy was very attractive to soul beasts. When he first defeated these soul beasts, Lin Feng had given them a bit of life energy. Because of this, Lin Feng only had to call for them to come over. Their goal was to obtain Lin Feng's life energy. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come over and would have run away long ago. "Moo!" Just as Lin Feng finished speaking, an armored bull cried out. Evidently, it knew something. At the same time, one of the sanguine apes pointed towards the northwest as it roared. As for the other soul beasts, they didn't say anything. Evidently, they didn't know anything. "All right, the two of you stay here. The rest of you can leave." After waving his hand to chase the other soul beasts away, Lin Feng directly handed 2 balls of life energy to the sanguine ape and the armored bull respectively. Soul beasts were different from humans. They were straightforward. If they knew something, they knew it. If they submitted, they submitted. They didn't have any ulterior motives. At this moment, Lin Feng didn't even need to verify anything. He directly handed the balls of life energy to them. "The two of you can communicate first. Whoever is closer can lead me over." After a while, the iron-armored bull let out 2 cries and walked forward. Lin Feng smiled, sat on Xiaoying's back, and followed. Just like that, about an hour later, the armored bull stopped and stood in front of a valley. Lin Feng knew that the soul beast should be here. Ignoring the armored bull, Lin Feng got Xiao Ying to shrink and follow by the side. In the territory of 80,000 to 90,000 year-soul beasts, Lin Feng didn't dare to swagger around. When he walked in just now, he took a detour. This wasn't because he was afraid. The main thing was that it was troublesome. Lin Feng didn't want to waste time. Also, when Lin Feng asked the armored bull what the soul beasts in this territory were like, it directly said that it didn't know. It seemed like it had coincidentally sensed the aura here, so it knew that there was a strong soul beast here. After walking in, Lin Feng directly released a faint soul power aura to the surroundings. He wanted to lure out the soul beasts in this territory. Lin Feng didn't dare to release his aura too far. If he did, it would be like turning on a flashlight in the dark. His position would be exposed instantly. At that time, the soul beasts nearby would surround him. If 1 or 200,000 year soul beasts were lured out, Lin Feng wouldn't have any other choice but to run. Chapter 127. As long as he could lure out an 80 to 90,000 year soul beast, he would see if it was strong. If it was a rare soul beast, Lin Feng would immediately retreat. He didn't want to continue fighting. It would be troublesome if he was delayed. If it was a weaker soul beast, Lin Feng would use his strongest abilities to kill it. Then, he would use the 1,000 trickery ruler to hide his aura and find a place to hide and absorb the soul ring. The plan was simple and practical. He just had to wait for the soul beast to come out. About 10 minutes later, Lin Feng suddenly felt a strong aura rushing towards him. Lin Feng didn't say anything. He picked up Xiao Ying and ran. This armored bull was so deceitful. It was a 90,000-year Medusa's snake. Was it something he could kill? Lin Feng didn't even want to fight it, let alone kill it. The Medusa's snake was a soul beast with an extremely strong bloodline. Although it wasn't at the level of the Titan giant ape, it was still a savage beast. The main reason was that its innate skill was extremely powerful. The light in its eyes could petrify people. Even the rank 95 titled wouldn't dare to provoke a 90,000-year Medusa's snake. Its petrified eyes were too troublesome. Now that Lin Feng encountered it, the only thought in his mind was to run. After running for about 5 minutes, Lin Feng didn't stop using his netherworld energy. He only stopped after he ran out of the setting sun forest. That snake was truly terrifying. It was extremely fast and chased him through half the forest. Along the way, many innocent soul beasts were implicated. Lin Feng even ran into several groups of soul masters. Right now, he could only hope that he was fine. Currently, the soul beasts in the forest were rioting. Lin Feng waited for more than an hour before he ran back. After spending another hour or so, he finally found the blood ape in a cave. By now, the commotion in the forest had mostly subsided. The sanguine ape led Lin Feng towards the northwest. The second location was a little far away. During this time, Lin Feng even ate lunch. About 2 hours later, the blood ape finally stopped at the edge of a large ravine. It pointed downwards, indicating that the soul beast was down there. After pointing, the blood ape turned around and swayed in the forest. Soon, it disappeared. This time, Lin Feng did not bring Xiao Ying with him. He placed Xiao Ying at the edge of the forest and let it hide for a while. At this moment, Lin Feng was thinking about what kind of soul beast would live in this kind of terrain. Lin Feng hadn't been able to use his own knowledge to analyze what kind of soul beasts lived in Medusa's territory because the territory of the soul beasts was too large. However, it was different now. There weren't many types of soul beasts living in this terrain. Very soon, Lin Feng came up with a few guesses: flying-type soul beasts, snake-type soul beasts, and reptile-type soul beasts. These types of soul beasts didn't have very strong defenses, and Lin Feng felt that he should be able to find his 7th soul ring. With that thought, Lin Feng spread his wings and flew down the ravine. The ravine was very long and very big. Lin Feng's field of vision was very wide. As he flew, he observed both sides. 2 minutes later, Lin Feng's eyes focused. Good heavens, it's a wind dragon. This was a soul beast similar to the pterosaur. At this moment, it was lying down in a cave and sleeping. He didn't know how old it was, but from its size, it was at least 80,000 years old. It was 7 to 8 meters long, like a small mountain. Lin Feng wanted to slowly approach it and launch a sneak attack. However, he had caused too much of commotion when he flew over, and the wind dragon woke up. However, Lin Feng didn't want to drag this out any longer. Kill it. With that thought, Lin Feng activated his soul skills. The thousand trickery ruler transformed into a long spear, and Lin Feng threw it straight at the wind dragon. The long spear was extremely fast, exceeding the speed of sound in an instant, and produced an ear-piercing sonic boom. However, the wind dragon reacted quickly. It opened its mouth and spat out a wind blade, which hit Lin Feng's long spear and sent it flying back. Lin Feng wasn't surprised. He opened his hands. The long sword exploded at the entrance of the cave and transformed into a large pot, blocking the entire entrance. The wind dragon was like a turtle in a jar. At this moment, Lin Feng flew into the cave. However, Lin Feng had underestimated the wind dragon. It flapped its wings crazily, and for a moment, a violent wind blew. In front of the wind dragon, a ball of green energy was rapidly condensing. Lin Feng wanted to interrupt it, but the speed at which it was condensing was too fast. He didn't even have time to step on the ground before the ball of green energy turned into a large ball of spinning wind blades and flew straight towards the entrance of the cave. Lin Feng dodged, but the hole blocked by the thousand trickery ruler was broken open. The wind dragon took the opportunity to flee towards the hole, trying to escape. However, Lin Feng reacted quickly. With a wave of his hand, the broken pot transformed into a large net, enveloping the wind dragon. The wind dragon opened its mouth again, and wind blades flew everywhere, cutting the large net. However, the net was too big, and in the end, a part of it still covered the wind dragon. Lin Feng took advantage of the opportunity to transform the thousand trickery ruler. He was like Spider-Man, grabbing a thread and flying out with the wind dragon. Borrowing the force, Lin Feng somersaulted and stood directly on the wind dragon's back. The wind dragon was furious, and green light overflowed from its body. A powerful strangling force forced Lin Feng to retreat. However, a spear had already appeared in his hand, and he fiercely threw it down. Chi! The spear didn't hit its head, but its right wing was pierced by Lin Feng. This small injury was nothing. Instead, it angered the wind dragon, causing it to madly shoot wind blades in all directions. Lin Feng didn't panic at all, and the spear in his hand was thrown even more happily. One spear after another, as if there was no end to it. Although most of the spears didn't hit, such a large number of them still added more than 10 wounds to the wind dragon's wing. Just like this, a man and a dragon fought in the air more than 10 meters above the forest. Unknowingly, they arrived at the west side of the setting sun forest. At this time, the wind dragon was unable to restrain its anger. If it could speak, it would have opened its mouth and cursed Lin Feng to death. Lin Feng also felt very irritated. The wind dragon's speed was too fast, and it seemed to have some kind of special reaction. It was always able to dodge a few fatal attacks. Otherwise, how could Lin Feng let it escape for so long? At this time, Lin Feng suddenly realized that the forest in front of him was somewhat special. It seemed to have some kind of special soul power fluctuation. Just as he was thinking, the wind dragon had already flapped its broken wings and rushed into that area. Fortunately, the wind dragon mainly relied on its own wind energy to fly. Otherwise, its broken wings would have fallen long ago. At this time, Lin Feng discovered that the wind dragon suddenly spewed out a large amount of poisonous fog. In the next second, a loud shout came from inside the forest. "You dare to break into my poison array? Let me see what kind of person you are. You really have guts." Chapter 128. Hearing the voice, Lin Feng couldn't be bothered to care who it was. He only knew that the poisonous mist had stopped the wind dragon for a moment. This was an opportunity. Lin Feng activated his full strength. A large blade appeared in Lin Feng's hand. Then, he turned into a ray of light and pierced through the wind dragon's neck. With a snap, the wind dragon's head was chopped off. The wind dragon was dead. Ding! After an exciting chase, the host has killed the 86,874-year-old wind dragon. Battle experience has increased. Experience plus 2845177. He didn't try to act cool. The thousand trickery ruler turned into a giant net and caught the corpse. He was ready to leave, but at this moment, a dark green figure shot out from the poisonous mist and stood in front of Lin Feng. You want to run after killing a soul beast in my territory? Aren't you looking down on me a little too much? Douluo's hoarse voice rang out. A trace of greed flashed through his eyes as he looked at the wind dragon's corpse in the net. He knew that the wind dragon was an old soul beast. From its power, it was at least 70,000 years old. Normally, this type of soul beast lived in the depths of the forest. There were many soul beasts there, and 100,000-year soul beasts could be lured out. Even titled Douluo didn't dare to go there. Therefore, it was extremely difficult to kill an old soul beast. Now that a 70,000-year-old wind dragon had died in front of him, it was a big treasure. There was a high chance that it would drop a soul bone. Moreover, the materials from a 70,000-year-old soul beast were all very rare. Anyway, Douluo had his eyes on this soul beast corpse. He was going to snatch it. Furthermore, Douluo was very certain that this masked man was only a soul Douluo. If it was a titled Douluo, how could a 70,000-year-old soul beast make him escape from the depths of the forest to the edge of the forest? Isn't this titled Douluo a little too weak? Moreover, a 70,000-year-old soul beast was unlikely to be killed by a titled Douluo because a living soul beast was more valuable than a dead one. But now that the wind dragon was killed, there was a high chance that this masked man was a titled Douluo. He killed the soul beast to break through to become a titled Douluo. What are you going to do? Lin Feng knew that the masked man was a titled Douluo. Only a titled Douluo could stand in the air. Lin Feng also sensed a faint threat from him, but it wasn't very strong. The highest level of threat should be rank 95. With the addition of the poison from before, a name appeared in Lin Feng's mind. By Linda, Bo poisoned was a Douluo, a standard to measure of fighting strength. Lin Feng didn't expect to run into this guy. He wasn't afraid of him, but the wind dragon's soul ring was about to appear. He had to find a place to absorb it. He didn't have time to waste with this guy. You should be rank 90. You killed the wind dragon to become a titled Douluo. Am I right? Douluo was observing Lin Feng. Even though he guessed that the masked man was a soul Douluo, he still had to keep his guard up. This guy was wearing a mask and hunting the soul beast alone. Clearly, he was trying to hide the fact that he was a titled Douluo. Was he a soul master secretly trained by some organization? Or could it be that some guy was restless and wanted to hide his strength? No matter what, this guy dared to venture into the depths of the setting sun forest alone. Even if he was a soul Douluo, he had to be a very powerful soul Douluo. He also had a pair of lightning wings on his back. It must be some kind of soul skill. This meant that he was very fast. Get out of my way if you don't want to die. Lin Feng said fiercely as a spear appeared in his hand. Guess. Guess my ass. How could I have so much time to guess with you? If not for the fear of being ambushed during the few seconds of absorbing the soul ring, Lin Feng wouldn't have had to leave. He would have absorbed it on the spot. As for running, if Lin Feng was alone, he would have run away. The main thing was that he was carrying an 8-meter-long wind dragon. It was too heavy. He couldn't outrun others while carrying it, so he could only fight this one battle. Very good. It's been a long time since someone dared to talk to me like this. Today, I'll let you know what a titled Douluo is. Douluo wasn't someone who talked nonsense. Since Lin Feng was so arrogant and didn't want to talk to him, he would fight him. He would beat him until he was afraid and left the item behind. He summoned his martial soul. In an instant, the phantom of a jade scaled snake emperor appeared in the air. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 black. 9 dazzling soul rings appeared behind Douluo's back. His hair had turned a glossy green and was very dazzling. His eyes were also emerald green. It was so green that juice was about to drip out. He looked like a green man. However, he was still very powerful. At least the surrounding soul beasts gave him face and scattered. Originally, I just wanted you to leave the corpse behind after absorbing the soul ring. But since you dared to provoke me, don't think about leaving today. If a rank 90 soul Douluo abandoned the item and ran away, Douluo might not be able to stop him. He wasn't a soul master who specialized in speed. However, Lin Feng didn't run away. Instead, he looked like he wanted to fight him. Wasn't he courting death? Cut the crap. Watch out for my spear. When he let go of the wind dragon's corpse, several black soul rings behind Lin Feng shone at the same time. In the next second, he turned into a streak of dark light and charged towards Douluo. The spear in his hand was dazzling. Douluo didn't dare to be careless. Seeing that Lin Feng had used several soul skills at once, he lit up all 6 of his soul rings to give him face. A pale green shell appeared around Douluo's body. It should be a defense-type soul skill. Following that, a thick green poisonous fog sprayed out and enveloped the surroundings. His fingers flickered with a cold light. They were extremely sharp. Die! Douluo charged towards Lin Feng with a poisonous fog around him. Lin Feng's expression didn't change. His life energy turned into a protective barrier around him. Douluo's poisonous fog was isolated. Following that, Douluo's sharp claws collided with Lin Feng's spear. Whoosh! Douluo's hands were clearly ordinary, but with the support of his soul skill, they became harder than 1,000 trickery ruler. A series of sparks were created when the two collided. However, in the next second, Lin Feng's soul power moved slightly. Another black soul ring shone behind him. Following that, a huge wave of energy was released from Lin Feng's hands. It passed through the 1,000 trickery ruler's spear and reached the tip of the spear. 4th soul skill, Raging Flame Flower Ring. Strengthened version. Blazing sparks gathered at the tip of the spear. In a breath's time, the sparks turned into a bright golden flower. Bang! Douluo didn't have the chance to react. Following a violent explosion, his entire body was blown away. Before the explosion, Lin Feng had left his original spot. At this moment, the poisonous fog in the air was annihilated by the flames. Chapter 129. You've successfully angered me. Douluo's angry roar came from not far away. His body was charred yellow, and his originally green hair had turned charred green. From afar, he looked a little comical. However, as soon as he finished speaking, his 7th soul ring suddenly lit up. In the next second, a dazzling emerald green light was emitted from his body. His thin and tall body suddenly swelled up like a mushroom that had eaten Mario. In a short moment, a 30-meter-long jade-scaled snake emperor as thick as a water bucket was revealed. The emerald green diamond-shaped scales were very eye-catching. They were segmented like beautiful emeralds. This emerald green snake was like a cobra. Half of its body stood upright, and its big eyes flickered with anger as it stared at Lin Feng. They glanced at each other. Surprisingly, the snake was extremely agile. In a flash, it attacked Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't panic at all. The spear in his hand melted into a ball of liquid, and then turned into a 40-meter-long axe. Eat my axe! Lin Feng slashed with all his strength, and his target was the snake's head. Douluo's snake eyes flickered. He thought to himself, wasn't this guy's martial soul a spear? Why is his martial soul true body an axe now? Although he was surprised, he didn't panic. His snake eyes suddenly emitted a dark green light. Had Medusa's soul bone. Medusa's gaze at the same time. His snake tail swept out like the autumn wind sweeping away fallen leaves, sweeping towards Lin Feng's head. Danger. Extreme danger. When this axe came down, Lin Feng's heart beat wildly. He knew that Douluo was going to use his ultimate move. He immediately turned the 1,000 trickery ruler into a shield around his body. Then, he gave up on attacking. His body entered a semi-intangible state, and his lightning wings instantly exploded. In the end, his life force spread out. At this moment, Douluo's petrification light was released. Even though Lin Feng had many methods to block it, this light actually penetrated his methods and shone directly on his body. In an instant, Lin Feng's thoughts froze, and his body couldn't move. He was about to be petrified. Bang! Douluo's snake tail smashed through the shield formed by the thousand trickery ruler and swept Lin Feng away. Crack, crack! A cracking sound came from Lin Feng's body. This wasn't a crack in the tone, but a crack in the person. Fortunately, Lin Feng quickly summoned the immeasurable flower. His life force surged without restraint, and his soul skill, life bloom, remained active. Not only was the rich life force healing his wounds, it was also rapidly melting the petrified parts of his body. Dong! Lin Feng flew dozens of meters away and fell to the ground. He had actually underestimated Douluo's strength. Lin Feng had thought that Douluo was just SOSO and that Douluo, the weakest one among them, couldn't be that strong. But now, Lin Feng realized that when he calculated their strength, he had only taken into account the basic strength of Douluo. He hadn't taken into account any powerful or special soul skills or soul bones. It seemed like Lin Feng had underestimated these titled Douluo from the very beginning. At the same time, he had overestimated himself. He had been too naive. Anyone who could become a titled Douluo had to have some skill. None of them were weak. A control-type titled Douluo had such a special move. If he had a stronger attack, he might have been killed in one hit. Furthermore, Douluo hadn't used his 8th and 9th soul skills yet. If he continued to fight, his life would be in danger. With that thought, Lin Feng thought of running away. But when he turned his head, Lin Feng discovered that the wind dragon's corpse wasn't too far away. A pitch-black soul ring with a tinge of red was floating next to it. In an instant, Lin Feng had a bold idea. He would absorb the soul ring directly. His 7th soul ring would definitely increase his strength greatly. According to his past experience, absorbing a soul ring would only take a few seconds. As long as he could block Douluo's attacks for a few seconds, he would be able to rapidly increase his strength. When he thought of this, Lin Feng's 2nd soul ring began to flicker. 2nd soul skill, Shadow Bind, Super Chain version. His right hand was like a machine gun, shooting balls of dark energy towards Douluo's snake. They exploded on its body and turned into a large net, trying to trap Douluo. But this fellow's body was too big, and there seemed to be a special energy barrier around it. The net quickly melted away. Douluo had also discovered that Lin Feng was trying to get close to the wind dragon. He was spitting out poisonous fog in his direction. Seeing this, Lin Feng cursed inwardly. This soul ring was too young, and its soul skill wasn't strong enough to trap this snake. However, Lin Feng didn't have time to think. He had already arrived beside the wind dragon's soul ring. In the next moment, his 4th soul ring lit up. A third of his soul power condensed into a raging flame flower ring, and he threw it towards Douluo. At the same time, he activated all sorts of defensive abilities. The 1,000 trickery ruler turned into a large pot, covering Lin Feng's entire body. Then, he began to absorb the soul ring. In the next second, the raging flame flower ring exploded. Douluo's body emitted a dense green light, and he actually endured the explosion to arrive at Lin Feng's side. In 2 seconds, Douluo's snake tail slammed down, smashing the 1,000 trickery ruler's barrier. It didn't dissipate as it smashed into Lin Feng's armored demonic bear transformation barrier. The barrier shattered, and Lin Feng suffered the impact. He spat out a mouthful of blood, but his life force quickly recovered. In 3 seconds, Douluo raised his tail and slammed it down again. This time, the momentum was even more ferocious. He wanted to smash Lin Feng to death with this attack. At the same time, Douluo thought to himself, he dares to absorb a soul ring at the most crucial moment of the battle? Is he an idiot? Are soul rings that easy to absorb? Thinking back, when he absorbed his 9th soul ring, he ran to an absolutely safe place and spent more than half an hour to successfully absorb it. He's going to die in a few seconds, and he still wants to absorb the soul ring? Does he want the soul ring or not? With that thought, Douluo's tail smashed down. Bang! The snake tail smashed solid. The wind dragon's corpse was smashed into 2, and a large hole appeared in the ground. However, Douluo wasn't happy at all. This was because he sensed that his attack had smashed into empty air. Lin Feng had disappeared. Douluo raised his snake tail. Sure enough, it was as Douluo had sensed. There was only a large hole in the ground, and Lin Feng was nowhere to be found. Douluo immediately looked around, and finally found Lin Feng's figure in the air to his left. At this time, he was very strange. His whole body was wrapped in a white liquid. It was like boiling water, constantly bubbling. Then, under Douluo's astonished gaze, Lin Feng actually split into two. Two identical masked men spoke at the same time. Douluo died. Chapter 130. After adding the seventh soul ring to the immeasurable flower, Lin Feng's two martial souls underwent a special transformation. When the immeasurable flower had first awakened, it was pure black. After adding another soul ring, it gained a new color. After obtaining the seventh soul ring, it directly became a multicolored flower. There weren't any special effects, but Lin Feng discovered that his life force would dissipate after leaving his soul power for a period of time. There was no way to preserve it, but it seemed different now. He could preserve it for a long time. Of course, the transformation of the immeasurable flower wasn't very useful. The main change was the transformation of the 1000G ruler. When Lin Feng had just reached rank 70, he had only felt the life force within the 1000G ruler. It was a little different. After obtaining the seventh soul ring, the 1000G ruler underwent a transformation. It was as if it had become another Lin Feng, possessing all of his strength. It was as if it had split into a brand new self, the kind that could be controlled at will. Because of this, there were two Lin Feng, and they were both wearing Thanos masks. Lin Feng also discovered that his 1000G ruler's characteristics were even stronger. In the past, it would have the characteristics of whatever it transformed into. Now, the effects of the characteristics had doubled. Wasn't the shield formed by the 1000G ruler smashed by Douluo's tail just now? If he transformed again, he definitely wouldn't be able to break it. At the very least, he would need two tails. Facing Douluo, Lin Feng went all out. Two identical figures, both wearing armor formed by the 1000G ruler, activated all kinds of skills, and wielding large axes that were dozens of meters long, chopped at Douluo at the same time. At this moment, Douluo was completely stunned. He didn't understand what was going on. How did the soul rings get absorbed in a few seconds? Two identical people had appeared. Was this his ninth soul skill? And how did his strength increase so much? There were many doubts, but no one answered Douluo facing the attacks of two Lin Feng. He felt a life and death crisis. At this moment, Douluo no longer had any thoughts of robbing him. His eighth and ninth soul rings lit up one after another, and green light illuminated the horizon as he charged straight towards Lin Feng. Eighth soul skill, time freeze. Ninth soul skill, jade phosphorus divine light. Douluo's eighth soul skill could forcibly immobilize others, and it was extremely powerful. Even though Lin Feng had become a lot stronger, he couldn't avoid it when he unleashed it in his martial soul true body. However, Lin Feng was not immobilized. Only his speed had fallen considerably. Even after activating nether power, his movements had been greatly reduced. However, this effect did not last long. At most, they would be able to break free from it within a second. However, Douluo's ninth soul skill, Jade Phosphorus Divine Light, came crashing down. This was an extremely corrosive attack. Even if Lin Feng used the 1000 Manipulation Ruler as a shield to block it, it was still quickly corroded. However, his mutated immeasurable flower emitted a 7-colored light that had a very strong defense against this kind of attack. After blocking it for a few seconds, the attack disappeared. At this moment, when Lin Feng tried to find traces of Douluo again, he had already disappeared. In fact, this was the first time Lin Feng had used multitasking and dual vision in a battle. It was a strange feeling, and he was not used to it. Therefore, he had controlled both of them to do the same thing. If he had mastered multitasking earlier, Douluo would not have been able to escape. Unfortunately, there were no ifs. Ding! After a thrilling battle, The host has defeated the rank 91 title Douluo. Douluo battle experience has increased. Experience points plus 912, 4815, close to 10 million experience points. That's a lot. However, Lin Feng did not care too much about it. He landed beside the wind dragon's corpse and found a soul bone in its left leg. This was a pleasant surprise. When he saw Douluo smash open the wind dragon's corpse, he thought there was no soul bone. He didn't expect it to be in its leg. This was an 80,000-year-old left leg bone. It was taken from the wind dragon's body. It should have something to do with speed. Lin Feng had absorbed its soul ring, so this soul bone was very suitable for him. Lin Feng did not think too much about it and directly fused with the soul bone. The improvement brought by the soul bone was not inferior to the soul ring. His left leg felt like it was in the sky, and he was almost floating when he walked. This soul bone also came with an attack type soul skill. Lin Feng named it Hasaru. The main reason was that it was too vivid. As long as this soul skill was activated, he could kick out a tornado made of wind blades. The tornado's size and power were determined by the amount of soul power he poured into it. Lin Feng casually tested it and felt that its power was not bad. Under normal circumstances, its power should be comparable to a powerful attack from Douluo. Right. Lin Feng suddenly realized that the age of this soul bone could be increased by using experience. The experience required to upgrade a 10,000-year-old soul bone was the same as upgrading a soul ring. 1 year was 1,000 experience points. Right now, Lin Feng's 7th soul ring was 868,874 years old. It was not far from the 100,000-year mark, so Lin Feng directly upgraded it to 99,999 years old. This cost him over 13 million experience points. At this time, Lin Feng realized that he only needed 10 million experience points to break through the 100,000-year limit. Name: Lin Feng Martial Soul, 1000 Trickster Ruler, Immeasurable Flower Soul Power, Rank 73, plus 1000 Trickster Ruler Soul Ring, Non-Immeasurable Flower Soul Ring, Snow Lotus, 999 years, plus Soul Skill, Life Bloom Ghost Head Stalking Spider, 10,000 years, plus Soul Skill, Shadow Bind Armored Bear, 10,000 years, plus Soul Skill, Armored Devil Bear Transformation Fireweaver Monkey, 14,154 years, plus Soul Skill, Raging Flame Wreath Nether Civet, 34,952 years, plus Soul Skill, Nether Force Lightning Falcon, 38,461 years, plus Soul Skill, Lightning Wings Wind Dragon, 99,999 years, plus Soul Skill, Martial Soul True Body Soul Bone, Wind Dragon Left Leg Bone, 86,874 years, plus Soul Skill, Hasuru Experience Points, 9679725. Looking at his experience points, Lin Feng only had a little over 6 million. He still needed over 300,000 experience points to upgrade his first 100,000-year soul ring. Thinking about this, Lin Feng was extremely excited. He directly walked into the depths of the forest. He wanted to find a high-level soul beast to fight. It was only a little over 300,000 experience points. As long as he found a 70,000-year soul beast to fight, it would definitely be enough. Just as Lin Feng walked into the depths of the forest, Douluo ran out from the edge of the setting sun forest, a look of joy on his face. That masked guy was too strange. Furthermore, his martial soul was very strange. He definitely had twin martial souls. Also, his strength was incomparably strong. His 9th soul skill could actually summon a clone with the same strength as himself. This was simply unheard of. Since he had formed a grudge with him today, he should hurry up and cultivate. Otherwise, if they met again, he could only run away